a Jets injury update, and Giants and Jets reviews out of preseason game number 1. It's live. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, and it starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. 'Cause when Tony's ball, it's always gonna do. If Boy Green is always on the scene, it was gonna always bring to life singing. So get ready, ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, welcome aboard, everybody. Happy Monday. It's the Monday live show, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. There's the YouTube link. Don't forget, if you're not already a subscriber, just a simple click of a button, absolutely free, and you can join our growing army. Also, don't forget to like the video on your way in. If you're already a subscriber, what are you waiting for, man? We got memberships. They're pretty cool. You get some bonuses. You get to early access to some of our videos. So please take time to support the channel by becoming a member. You will get member perks. And Boy Green, I've already been plotting and sketching out my Manchild's musings, which
I can't wait for that. Yeah.
Start at the beginning of the NFL season. Some of them will be sports related, some of them life related. So it's going to be fun, and that'll be a members only segments. Nobody will be able to see my musings outside of those that dare to muse in support of the channel through membership. So great way to do it. Don't forget, our raffle is ongoing as well, everybody. We are raffling off a whole bunch of prizes. I'll go through them later. But the way you get raffle tickets really quick, become a member, 2 raffle tickets right there. Gift a membership, 2 raffle tickets right there. Super chat or super sticker, every equivalent of $3, a single raffle ticket. And if you join at higher levels of our membership, we have a diehard level for $9.99 a month, and a Hall of Fame member for $19.99 a month. You'll get 10 diehard, 20 for being a Hall of Fame member, and that'll come every single month for you as an advanced member of our channel. And you can also gift memberships. If you gift 5 or more memberships today, 20 raffle tickets, baby. You can move right towards the top of the leaderboard. And again, I'll go through the cavalcade of prizes, but we're giving away some pretty cool stuff this month. Our drawing is the 22nd, which is my birthday, which will be this coming Saturday. All right, so we will announce the winner on Monday's show next week. So we are a week away. So you've got today's show and Wednesday show, and then if you want to get in and while we're interviewing Joe Bartle, we're trying to line that up for Friday. BG, have we worked on Bartle yet? Is Bartle lined up for Friday yet? Are we there yet?
In general, the Bartle thing has been working on.
We're hopeful to have Joe Bartle this Friday to start talking fantasy football, because everybody's getting ready for their fantasy football drafts. Boy Green, good afternoon to you. And hey, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the Jets and Breece Hall, an injury update. So what's the latest on Breece? I understand it's a groin situation. And so what is Aaron Glenn saying, and what are the medical people saying at this particular point?
You know, Jet fans have been, I imagine, pretty happy this offseason. You're seeing all these people go down across the National Football League with different injuries, and the Jets had been pretty good. And then when you get the updates, the Jets returned to practice today after playing their preseason game on Friday, which we'll get into later. And they're practicing today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Off day Thursday, then they have their next preseason game. All their preseason games this year are on a Friday. And when you get the tweet of Breece Hall goes down, non-contact, just falls down, and he's reaching for his upper leg, you just start going like, oh, God. What does this mean? So Rich Cimini and a few others speculated that it was groin-related with sort of how Breece responded in the moment. He ultimately got up under his own power, went to the Blue Medical Tent, and after Aaron Glenn confirmed that it's a slight tweak of the groin, he doesn't seem overly concerned about it, thank goodness, but Breece will be going for imaging. So the eye in the sky never lies, the imaging never lies. So we'll confirm from that standpoint. I've seen a few those fantasy doctors, they're all out there in the universe. And they said, based on everything, there's 2 possibilities for this, according to the doctors. One, it's basically a nothing burger. You're not going to see him for the rest of the preseason. He's good for week 1, and we move on. Jets are super cautious. I just read that the worst case scenario, doomsday scenario for something like this is a 6 to 8 week recovery. And obviously it'd be out for like a month and a half, 2 months. And that would obviously creep into the season. So it seems like Aaron Glenn isn't worried about it at all. I feel like if he was worried about it, what does he have to lose telling us now as opposed to tomorrow? So for now, it's as we see it in the headline. NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo said a sigh of relief on one Jets drive when he goes down and their initial testing. So we can only hope that continues to be the case.
Max in the house. He says, let's bleep and go, and hope you feel better, Manchild. I guess he's talking about my back, Boy Green, although I'm not sure which procedure he's talking about. First of all, the back is doing a lot better. Today, probably the best day in the last 2.5 weeks. I threw out my back about 2.5 weeks ago. Hasn't affected me here on the channel, but it has affected me in life. Basically, standing up, walking, or doing anything that requires movement has been affected. But I'm doing a lot better, and expecting really a big improvement this week. But today has been the best day of them all, so feeling good about that. Also, this morning coming off.
Well, let me say this before you do. So the morning show is going on, and Mac is asking, "Oh man, can't wait to see at 3:00 because we've developed a reputation now. That's when the shows are, so it's coming live." And so it came on my mind, and I don't know what the latest HIPAA laws are, alert. So I'm not throwing all your personal medical
laws. Breaking laws on me.
I didn't. The only thing I said is Manchild is undergoing an operation of some sort.
Okay.
Let's all pray for him and hope everything goes.
It's not categorized an operation.
No,
what I was getting is a colonoscopy, and anybody
that would be an operation. Let me Google.
It's not an operation. I mean, basically, they stick a tube up your butt and they make sure that everything's okay in your large intestine. And I don't know if they go all the way into the small, but they just make sure that nothing's going on. It's something when you get to be a certain age, and I'm of that age, where they recommend that you do it every 5 or 7 years. And so I'm on the 5-year plan. By the way, Mac, clean bill of health for the Manchild today. So yesterday, I mean, when you do the prep for anybody that's ever done a colonoscopy or an operation of this, a procedure of this nature, a lot of times you got to clear out the pipes there, I'd say, and they give you some solution and it clears out the pipes. But you aren't going anywhere the day before. As a matter of fact, you're not eating a damn thing. Okay, all you're basically doing is drinking water or apple juice. All right, and you're just clearing out the pipes so that when they go in with the scope, there's nothing in there other than what you have, what's going on with you.
Sure.
So that's the way it works. But the procedure was great. My doctor was awesome, and happy to report results negative. See you in 5 years. Fantastic. So
okay. So when you do a process like that, I imagine you're starving after, and you finally get the green light. What was the meal? You're like if you're on death row, you get the final meal. What was the meal that you're like, oh, I'm gonna indulge here?
Jamie, the FedEx guy, knew that I was getting this procedure, and he was texting me this morning to reach out and say, hey, good luck. I'm like, all right, I don't need luck. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And it's not with all the good luck, thing. It's just a routine thing. This is just something that you do every 5 years to make sure everything's fine. That's really it's preventative. So anyway, I get out and I just text him and said, I'm out. Everything's great. Thanks for reaching out, this morning. He says, what are you going to eat? Maybe go out for some steak or something, man, for lunch. I'm like, actually, what they suggest, Boy Green, coming off of the anesthesia, because you are knocked out during this procedure, is that you basically take it easy today. That you and then the recommendation is, you are hungry. I hadn't eaten since Saturday at about 8:00 at night. So I want you to think about that. Sunday at 8:00 right now. It's more than 36 hours by the time I'm out of that procedure. Okay, closing in on 48 hours, and you haven't eaten a thing other than drinking water and apple juice, like I said. So you're hungry. I mean, you're really, really hungry. They recommend you kind of bring yourself back, kind of normal. Like, number one, I'm not allowed alcohol today. I don't know, I guess it could have a reaction with the anesthesia that was in my body.
Jesus.
And I guess it kind of lingers a little bit, even though I'm fine now. Obviously, I'm alert. I'm fine. But there can be a reaction. So you don't want to do anything to stir it up. And like going out and say having a greasy hamburger or like a steak, as Jamie, like, you don't go out and do the heavy thing. They recommend, come home and maybe do some eggs and toast, maybe a cup of coffee or tea, just kind of give your body a chance to say, okay, it's fine to eat now.
Lame.
whatever. I did for my first meal. Don't worry. Tonight I'm having a full, I'm not going to go crazy bananas, but
You
I'm going
should.
to have a normal meal for dinner.
Right. Okay, good.
Looking
Okay.
forward to it. As a matter of fact, I'll be going out to the golf course. As you know, I'm
Okay.
in golf season still.
Yes.
So surprising perhaps not to see me on the golf course because of the back injury I've had. I decided I'm going to take tonight off from golf, but I am going to join my teammates out there for some fun and pageantry and a little bit of food afterwards because we always usually hang out and eat. So I said, I'll come up for dinner with you guys, but I'm not going to play tonight. So they got somebody to substitute for me. So taking the night off. I'm back next week, though. I don't care what the chiropractor says. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm back next week, baby. Getting back on a golf. I got a couple more weeks and I'm done. I mean, I want to get these last 2
That's true. We're already there. It's August 17th. Yeah, we're getting late.
It's all over, man. Summer's ending for me. It sucks, man. Yeah. So anyway, but what I am looking forward to, summer ends, and the cool thing about when summer ends is football begins. All right, and we get into real earnest football. So we're going to talk about these preseason games today. We'll do both Jets, Giants, and we'll touch on the Bills as well. But like real football is going to be played soon. So I'm excited about that, Boy Green. I'm excited about what is going on in these camp battles and these preseason games, which do, sometimes shed a little light on some things, dare I say. So I think we can get into some of that stuff today. Why don't we start Jets since we're on the Breece Hall story? So let's talk about takeaways from the Jets' first preseason game.
There weren't any, Lurch.
None? No takeaways. No.
There was no defensive takeaways whatsoever. We were looking out for takeaways, but no takeaways were had. Maybe they were saving that for see?
Figuratively.
No. I really wish I could make that joke. I wish they would have had several
turnover. That team's got to get a turnover in soon.
That team
needs an interception back.
Yeah, when it really matters is the regular season. So I really don't want them to go bonkers in the preseason. Then it doesn't happen in the regular season. So I guess let's save it for when it matters. But no, it was cool for us, right? Hall of Fame game was that's 2 weeks ago. They had their first rendezvous and they all enjoyed it. Cardinals fans, Panther fans, but the rest of us, the other 30 teams have been starving. Where's our preseason? So the Jets got it on Friday night against the Buccaneers. It was exciting. It was fun. And I love these stories for the Jets. Maury Bamba, undrafted free agent out of BYU. It was a great story a couple days ago. Aaron Glenn called him Bamba Island after the game, and it was fun and all that. Unfortunately, Maury Bamba hurt his knee in the game, and we just found out today he's going to miss the rest of the preseason. So that stinks. So that was a cool Hard Knocksian story. Maury Bamba, La Bamba. That was fun. Geno Smith, Lurch, right before the game, an hour before the game, no go, not going to play. So Jet fans were freaking out, like, oh, geez, what the heck?
Right.
Out of nowhere. And I was worried. So Aaron Glenn and all the reporters said, nothing to worry about. If this would have been a regular season game, he would have played, but, nothing to worry about. And I'm like, all right, we'll practice on Monday. If Geno doesn't come running out of that tunnel, wee woo, red alarms everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
sure.
But he did practice earlier today. He was wearing a leg sleeve. And again, this is one of the benefits of this show being later in the day because now a practice has happened. Aaron Glenn has spoke. So now we have just a lot more information. That's the cool of having this gap of time between these live shows that we do in the morning, which is super beneficial. So he had a leg sleeve. Rich to me said he was limping a little bit, but for the most part, he was back. So thank goodness. And that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Okay. What about play of some players? We got some unknowns. I mean, one of the things, and I've said this to you over the years, one of the things I sometimes struggle with in watching preseason football, and I know you are a savant. You like to watch every play, every down, every moment. I get into some of these preseason games. I watched the whole Giant game. I'll give you some reflections on the Giant game and tell you some of the things that went on there. But outside of a couple of little things, the rest of it is kind of, to me at least, much ado about nothing because these are guys that likely aren't going to play or just maybe going to make the roster or not really what I want to see. But I'll get into the Giants thing later. But when I watch preseason, that's kind of the feeling I walk away with. I don't walk away with the same feeling you do. You're very satisfied. I'm like the guy who, hasn't been able to have a meal for the last 48 hours and is like, can I have something? Please give me a morsel, something, man. How about just at least some eggs and some toast? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. To me, it's the opposite, I guess, of you. Because, like, I was just talking about the player, Maury Bamba. Who is more? Have you ever heard of the name Maury Bamba before, Lurch?
No. And I saw that was coming up. I was
Yeah.
following along when the Jets were
And that,
playing.
to
Who is
me,
this
that's
guy?
cool. I love it. And so I do play-by-play for the games, as everyone knows. And shout out to a service. I don't have it in front of me, but they gave me, there's a new website out there in the universe that gives you updated depth charts with numbers and everything. And I said, oh, this is perfect for my play-by-play. I like having this aside, and it goes as deep as the roster is. So it's a great depth chart. I can sort of scan through it quick and be able to make calls while I'm doing play-by-play. And again, Maury Bamba, number 38, kept coming up. I'm like, who? I knew who he was because I just cover the team enough. I know every name on the roster, but I didn't know. I knew he's on the team, but I didn't know much beyond the bare basics.
Sure.
And he's having this game, and I'm like, man, this is so exciting. This is what it's all about. These unheralded players getting their moment in the sun, and are they making a roster? Are they making somebody else's roster? And it gets pretty exciting. So, yeah, like I said, for me, those are the exciting things. Players coming off of injury. Another one was Braylon Allen at a 31-yard touchdown run. It was his first game back since blowing out his knee in week 4 of last season. So to me, that was exciting to see him get his shots. But yeah, there was just sort of a little bit of everything. But I like when we get the unheralded guys that most people are like, who is this guy? Those are the ones that are interesting. Yes, Paulie, very interesting. He's
if Breece Hall does go down for a period of time, all right, let's think worst case scenario here for a moment, all right, goes down for a period of time. You have faith in Braylon Allen? You believe he can carry the load while he's out?
It's a great question, and I feel a little bit more confident after, seeing what he did in the preseason game. Now, it's a preseason game, and the Bucs didn't necessarily play their starters, so take that for whatever you will. But, he just seems capable. This is what Connor Hughes is reporting, so I don't know if this is really true, but well, this is a lot going on. This is what Connor Hughes is reporting. He says, so Braylon Allen gets hurt last year, week 4 Monday Night Football game, goes out for the season. Mm-hmm. He says if that does not happen, Breece Hall would have been traded because the Jets were high on Braylon Allen. But when that chess piece got removed from the board, the Jets were like, well, we can't just trade Breece. So they ended up keeping him, and now the entire destiny changes. Yes. He signs a long-term deal, and he's here for the long term. So it is kind of crazy how little things can change. So apparently the Jets were confident, according to Connor Hughes reporting, in him becoming the guy by potentially trading away Breece and making him the guy. And now they could potentially have that opportunity. So again, we will see on the imaging. It looks like by all accounts right now, everything's going to be good there. But yeah, Braylon was, he's not a no-name, probably no name to the rest of the NFL, but to Jets, he wasn't a no-name coming in. A lot of people are intrigued by him. And obviously, come on, Loach, you do a preseason game, you have a young quarterback. It's how does he perform? And Cade Klubnik, obviously, with Geno not playing surprisingly, Cade was going to always play, but he didn't have, before this game on Friday night, he had 0 reps the entire offseason with the starters. He never threw to Garrett Wilson. He never was behind this offensive line, didn't hand it off to Breece, none of that, because he was a second string or third string as he was coming through this. So it was just cool. He had 2 drives, and both of them went for scores. One was a field goal, one was a touchdown. They both should have been touchdowns. Speaking of Breece Hall, he had a wide open lane to the end zone, and he just tripped on the turf monster and then fell out, and it was over. And then everyone goes, geez. And then he tweets after the game, the grass, this. And that was a whole thing. So, it should have been 2 touchdown drives. But that was exciting, I think, for a lot of fans out there in the audience.
Well, dare I say we must interrupt when things of this nature happen, and number 1 Austrian Jet is in the fold here, Boy Green.
Look at that.
Hell yeah.
He wants himself 20 raffle tickets. He just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Austrian. We get a video for that for sure. Let me pick something.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Let's see. What haven't I played in a while? I got to work on those new videos, too. I've been working on.
Sure, right. Yes, you were talking
but
about
I haven't loaded any of them for crying out loud.
No.
All right, Ted Lasso's back. Why not this?
Paddle. That's it.
By the way, something I didn't know about that, so I'm watching it. I think we're caught up on the latest episode now. I watched that during the break between these live shows and in between work. I get one quick lunch break where I can watch one show and then I got to get back to work. And the one she picked was Ted Lasso, the latest season. And I didn't know this about Jamie Tart. He said in some interview, I guess my algorithm is hearing me talk about Ted Lasso, so it said, hey, here's some random thing from Jamie Tart. He said that's his favorite scene that they ever recorded in any of the Ted Lassos, that moment between him and Roy Kent. So that's super cool. So shout out. And you said how many raffle tickets is this, Lurch?
20 for
20.
Austria.
Whoa,
There.
mama.
5
Okay, that will
memberships.
jump him into second place. Leapfrog Zay,
baby.
Leapfrogs Mac, and 26 raffle tickets. There you go.
Only a couple more shows to get your raffle tickets in. So today, a good day to take advantage. See some of the other competitors now jump to the table here. Get a little bit excited about Austrian throwing his name down for some memberships. And you can throw the names in there if you want, BG.
Yes, I absolutely will. Let me get that here on the program. The leaderboard is now officially updated. So thank you, Austrian. Appreciate that. Out in the audience, let's take a gander here at these memberships. By the way, Lurch, I do think that this is really cool. This is something we really didn't have in the radio world. So to have YouTube memberships now and things of that nature is awesome. So I want to give a huge shout out here to number one Austrian Jets fan. All right, these 5 memberships went to Who Dat, fam? Whatever Wizard, Kaiser R3V, Jersey Jet, and Sonny Miller. You guys are all now members. Shout out. There you go. And tip your bartender, number one Austrian Jets fan. Try to pay it forward. When you get gifted a gift, try to see if you can gift a gift as well out there in the audience. Beautiful. There you go, Austrian.
All right, we're getting some random comments. I'm going to jump over to this one real quick. All right. Manchild, how do you feel if Tyrone Tracy gets cut for the Najee Harris signing?
Okay. So first, Lurch, let's do this. So, Reese, we'll get back to you in a second on this, but let's get to this part first because it's a necessary step before the story, of course. We have the tape, Lurch. Some people, if you're watching, cover your eyes. Let's get Giants here. I saw this live and went, oh my gosh. I was like, good Lord. All right, here's the video. Poor Jackson Dart. This is in the preseason game, Lurch.
Yeah,
here we go.
Classic miss block.
Adams threatened blitz. Oh! Jackson Dart is smacked. Holy cow, Jay Ward.
Oh, like one more time.
Bridging technique so you don't get pushback. Adams threatened blitz. Oh! Jackson Dart is smacked. Holy cow, Jay Ward.
What the hell is Tyrone Tracy doing? Let's go.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy. Well, you see him lined up there to the right of Dart, right? Before the play even starts. Okay.
Yes.
Because I've seen this play several times in slow motion.
Sure.
All right. So his job is to either stay in and block if there's a blitzer coming from that side or run out into the flat. Now, the problem is it's pretty clear almost from the get-go that player, and you see him there on the outside, right?
Yeah, look, he's running up. You could see him. Yeah,
going to blitz. Okay, so the fact that Tracy kind of misses that, he starts to like scoot out to the right, and then he slips. Right, watch him slip
out of position. Yeah, and then he tries to make a last-second.
Yeah, he was done. I mean, he's
ineffective.
He was going the wrong direction, and the other guy got through, and then he caught Dart basically right in the chest and the midsection and knocked the wind out of him. We'll talk about the blue tent and everything that happened as well afterwards, because
look at this assumption. Like clearly you could see it with Tyrone Tracy's footwork here on the play. Like he assumes, he looks base defense and says, oh, no one's blitzing here. I'm good to flare out to the right. And he makes a horrific decision because he pot commits to that. It's almost like someone's like, if you're playing a Madden video game, I press and circle, I don't care what happens. And he's just doing this. And now it's too late. That's your number one priority, is protect your quarterback, and even do a chip and then extend out if you don't know. This is awful, Lurch.
Yeah. So the Giants haven't, to my knowledge, unless something has happened since you've been on the air, the Giants have not signed Najee Harris yet, but they are bringing him in for a workout, and nobody has said they're bringing Najee in because Tyrone Tracy is getting sacked.
But do they have to say it?
They don't have to. I don't know why they're bringing Najee in, other than, you look at anybody that's out there, and if you feel you need help in a particular position, you take a look at it. I don't know if it's connected or not.
Do you think it's connected?
Motivation. I think it's too early to tell. Connected. I think it's too early to tell, but I do think that John Harbaugh is a coach that is interested in making statements and in making sure that people understand, you better get your assignments together here, especially when it involves the risk and the health of our players in a preseason game. I mean, that was just a very bad play by Tyrone Tracy, period, end of story. And he's a veteran player. He should not have assumed anything. His job is first pass protect,
100%
to the flat, and he just starts taking off, like without any regard for.
How selfish is that to try to get a stat for himself? That's what that is. By not committing to the pass protection, you're like, ooh, let me get mine up. I don't think anyone's coming. But guess what? It's not his head on the line. It may be job-wise, but you have to protect Jackson Dart, man. That's selfish.
I agree. I also would say this, though. I mean, I'm not apologizing for Tyrone Tracy. It's a terrible play. But I think players, they forget things sometimes, or they don't react immediately. They're like still in their head on a play, and then before they know it, it's too late, right? The other guys already got them beat, and there's nothing you can do. And it just appears to me that that's what happened there. But it was a breakdown, no question about it, and it resulted in Jackson Dart taking a very hard hit, ending up in the blue medical tent. Now, here's where I have a problem, and Jackson Dart had a problem with this. John Harbaugh was a little bit lighter in the post-game press conference about it, and said he understands the NFL safety first, right? But why Jackson Dart was in the blue medical tent immediately after that, I don't agree with, Boy Green.
What?
Okay? And I am a safety first guy. There was that blue medical tent is about, concussions, okay?
Yeah.
Jackson Dart had the wind knocked out of him. He was hit here in the midsection. He was not hit in the head. And watch the replay. I saw it. His head did not hit the turf. So what's the reason for sending the guy in other than he's been sent in there a million times last year? Let's just send him in again. And the Giants were in the middle of a drive. Okay. Jackson Dart, by all accounts, wanted to continue, but couldn't because they basically ordered him to the blue medical tent, which he was in, ended up being in for about 30 seconds, was immediately jettisoned out, and then back on the field, and he throws a touchdown on the very next play. So Jameis Winston came in for a single play, and then he was back out there. I do think there can be, and I'm a big player safety guy. I'm a big, remember we interviewed Dr. Amalu and understand
huge
football and everything. So don't take me as someone that's barbaric and doesn't care about the health of these players going forward beyond football. I really do care about that just as a human being. But this to me was an overreaction. Like, how does that immediately, lend itself to get into blue medical tent? I don't get it.
Like his lifeless carcass, he didn't get up. He got hit and just laid there like he was dead. I think that's why. I think if he would have, I would give more credence to you and other Giants fans. If Jackson Dart got hit, immediately pop back up and you're like, okay, he's good. And like, that's not the independent neurologist job. Is not to, it's not swag points if you get up after a hit. They're supposed to be watching for signs the entire time. But I'm just saying, from an optic standpoint, he just laid motionless on the turf, and the helmet again. It's bang bang, right? I know the independent neurologist is supposed to have all these instant replays and everything. It appears fast that his head bounces off the turf when he gets whacked, like helmet to chest, and then it's sort of like a whiplash effect. Now, if you watch instant replay in very slow motion, clearly his head just lightly grazes because it has to attach the rest of his body.
It did not have that really hard bounce to go off.
No.
Listen, Harbaugh said, "Hey, I want the league to fall on the side of safety." And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But I don't know. Hindsight, watching it, seeing it. To me, I thought it was a bit of an overreaction. He didn't get up right away, but he wasn't laying there for, a minute either. He was laid there for about 15 seconds. His teammates kind of helped him up, kind of, ooh. And then you could tell he was out of breath. He was it was here. It was here.
Yeah,
it was not here. Okay. He was not like, groggy. He was like, man, damn, that guy hit me right in the ribs, So ribs concern here, but not concussion. And he was sending there for concussion protocol. Okay? He was sending there to get checked for concussion. Okay, so there's a difference in terms of how that all goes. So I'm kind of on Jackson Dart's side on this one. Like, I just thought it was a little bit of an overreaction. Like, don't we get a guy to the sideline first, okay, and just see what's going on before we immediately make the assumption it's concussion related? I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weak.
I just don't get let me see. I just want to get this correct. Do you know how old Jackson Dart is, Lurch?
I'm going to guess 23, 24.
23. You nailed it. He's 23 years old. Okay. The defiance from Jackson Dart, dating back to last year, about his cavalierness with putting his body on the line and, hey, everybody, this is how I play. Get used to it. And then this with his comments over the weekend about, the injury, like getting hit and going into the blue medical tent. I don't know, man. I don't think it's helping. The defiance to me just shows a rebel. And I think that's now I don't blame him in terms of the hit. It's clearly Tyrone Tracy's fault. He's supposed to chip. Jackson's got to trust that Tracy's going to take care of that. And he's blindly looking a different direction. So I don't blame him for this at all. This is not one of those moments of that, but just in a general package of Jackson Dart, this defiant attitude he appears to have as a young player about all of this. Optically, I don't think it looks great and probably doesn't help his case in future situations just like this.
I think Jackson Dart is just a tough guy. I think he understands that football is a tough sport. And I think that he kind of, that's just the way he's wired. I think I've already, even in this short period of time, seen a somewhat of a softening But I thought he was justified in saying what he said on this one, BG. I know optics-wise it doesn't look good. I totally agree with you on that. It does not look good from an optics standpoint after all this stuff. But I think he's also trying to set some guidelines here about, hey, every time I hit, do I got to go in that blue tent? Because, by the way, they rolled out some statistics. I wish I had them in front of me.
Okay.
Let's just – the statistics were overwhelming that how many times he was sent to the tent last year and how many times he was diagnosed with a concussion. I think the number that he was diagnosed was once. Okay. And I think he was sent to the tent somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 times. I wish I had the stat in front of me, but they mentioned it during the broadcast. And I was like, boy, that is a little bit of a bet. Like that, isn't that, the definition of overreaction? You send me 10 times and only once I come up positive. Like, I don't know. That could be. So I think he's trying to make a little bit of a statement here too, that like, let's not run me out of games every time I get hit. It's football. I got hit in the midsection. I got the wind knocked out of me. I got to go over to the tent and like have my people looking at a flashlight in my eyes. Like, seriously, guys, come on. I can tell you on the sideline, I lost my win. I'm fine. My head's fine. I lost, I got the wind knocked out of me. I mean, like, don't we do that anymore? Don't we check guys first before we just make the assumption and send them in? I don't know. I think it's a bit of an overaction. I side with Dart on this one. Sorry, I'm not changing my mind on this one.
So let's go to the first piece of this. Then I want to get into the Najee Harris part. But Najee Harris is a big name. He's a former first-round pick. And I get he's still a free agent here in the middle of August, but that's more so injury-related from what happened last year. I think people being somewhat trepidatious about signing him. But I think when healthy, Najee Harris has proven to be a very capable player. So he says, Reese, this question, how do you feel if Tyrone Tracy gets cut? Let me just ask you in a general sense, not just for Najee. We can talk about Najee in a second. Just in general, do you think he could get cut? Because I look at the numbers here for Tyrone Tracy. He's been very nice. Like, he's not going to the all-pro. He's not an all-pro or Pro Bowler with these, but he's ran for 740 yards, 839 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he's been a capable receiver. Like, and he still has 2 cheap years of rookie control in his contract. First off, do you think him getting cut is at all a possibility? And if so, I guess it's got to be a Harbaugh message. What other reason would there be otherwise? I think these statistics are too good for me to just dump off a player because he made a very brutal mistake, but a mistake nonetheless.
Well, look, I won't rule anything out because you got a new coach in place, and I don't know every little nook and cranny of what's been going on with Tyrone Tracy in practice. If this has been a chronic problem and he's been told this 10 times and then he does it in a preseason game, as bad as this would look, it might warrant being cut. But I don't think that that's the case.
Okay.
I think this was a mistake that a player made. I think appropriate discipline might be a temporary demotion. It might be, some extra laps. I don't know, whatever, John Harbaugh deems, spend a half hour just blocking, like whatever, like you do things to players to say, you getting it yet? Are you getting this yet? So, players miss blitzes all the time. This one was just egregious because the quarterback caught it in the chops and it's a preseason game and you don't want to see that. And it was clearly one guy's assignment and he just didn't properly attend that assignment. That's the way I would describe it. But does he deserve to get cut? No, I think the Giants would be ridiculous to cut him, frankly. Right. But again, it's in Harbaugh we trust, and I wouldn't rule anything out.
What's funny, you just mentioned it, like people miss pass protections all the time. I correlate that to running a red light, Lurch. People run a red light all the time. But they don't always get caught by the police by running a red light all the time. And, sometimes you could get away with bailing a pass protection and your quarterback's fine. Whoo, no one came through. Right. Oh, maybe I could get away with that one next time. Bailing early, get my catch, get my yards, get my statistics, get my thing. And that's the correlation that, again, I agree with you. People bail on pass protection all the time, but not everyone gets caught. Not wee woo. Police don't always catch you every time you do it. But to me, I think there's 2 reactions you can have to that. One, I can always get away with this. Look at this. I'm never getting caught. Or like, whoa, close call. I got to make sure I don't do that again or I'm going to get caught. And I think that's what happened here with Tyrone. Now let's go to the Najee Harris element here, Lurch. Again, I just gave his resume. Very impressive. This is a guy that is, let me get his age here in front of me. Unfortunately, he had a season-ending injury last year, but he's 28 years old, so he's a little bit older. But he has 4,000-yard seasons. Prior to the injury last year, he only had 15 carries for 61 yards with the Chargers. He had 4 straight 1,000-yard campaigns, 1,200, 1,000, and then his touchdowns were very solid in each of those years, 6, 8, 7, 7, and then obviously last year 0. This is a nice name. Do you think they need a Najee Harris in that Giants backfield?
Well, I think it would be nice to have some more veteran help. And, if there are issues with pass blocking in certain situations where you need a back to pass block. Now, I don't know in depth Najee Harris's success rate in pass blocking. I didn't prepare that for today's show because this is a fairly breaking story.
Yeah.
But based on what Najee Harris looks like,
he's a bigger
who
guy.
Najee Harris played for, Mike Tomlin,
Sure.
I'd be willing to bet without even knowing the numbers.
And Harbaugh, by the way, Tomlin and Harbaugh in
correct.
Chargers land,
right?
obviously.
So this familiarity, right? And this guy probably knows how to do that. If nothing else, I mean, this is a great scare tactic for a guy like Tracy to say, like, hey, man, you're not doing your job. We'll find somebody else who can. There are people out here roaming the countryside that can just take that role over. But I think the Giants would be very short-sighted to cut Tyrone Tracy just based on this one act. Now, if there's, like I said, if there's a history, if there's something going on in practice that we're not aware of, sometimes these all lead to a culmination of this guy's not doing his job and we're sick and tired of telling him the same thing over and over again. Yeah. I think one of the really good things you hear about rookies, I'm hearing this already about Arvell Reese in camp for the Giants, is you tell him once after he makes a mistake, he doesn't make that mistake again. You love that in a player. When you 100%. Coach a player, you explain a concept to them. They say, yes, coach, I understand. I've got it, coach. And then the next time it happens, they do it correctly. They don't, did it slightly better, but not even, or missed it again, and then again. And you're constantly like, hello, McFly. And you're banging on the guy's head with your fist. So, you love those kind of guys. And so, the Giants could use more depth in that world of running back. Sure. And Najee Harris, I don't know what the price would even be, what Najee's
probably dirt cheap, I'd
these
imagine.
days, but I would think at this point, so late, that it'd be fairly cheap. It's certainly a roster consideration if the guy is indeed in shape and if he does a good job here in this workout. So listen, man, all cards are on the table, but that was a bad play by Tracy, and that's the number one play that's being shown in this preseason game. You don't like to be that guy.
No,
the guys that missed the block, that got your quarterback nailed, and you become a YouTube sensation, and a social media sensation for a week, and have us, showing the replay.
Slow-mo. Oh, do you see the click, 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 frame by frame? So let me ask you.
It's not what you want in camp.
When you saw that over the weekend, did your
oh yeah,
was it like what was it?
You gotta be kidding me! Oh my god! Like we're only putting this guy out here for 2 series, and he gets nailed like that. Oh. And then when you saw the replay, you're like, "What are you doing? Block!"
Tyrone Tracy.
How do you 100%. Let that guy come free? It sucked that Dart didn't see him coming. You could see Dart is looking.
That makes
to his
it worse. 100%.
So the first read was to his left. Yeah. And so he looks left, and look the opposite way in the viewfinder here, and he'd have a sees him coming from the right because he kind of comes right, boom, like right.
Because he trusts this guy. Like he reads the protection, says, okay, I've got a guy, I've got a hot blitzing safety or corner to my right. I've got Pro on my right. He's good. I'm good. I've counted the math out. Slide left, slide right protection. Here it is. Here's my guy. 1 for 1. Our numbers match up. I can afford to commit to the left and look at the left. That's what I assume the thoughts that went through Jackson Dart's head as this play was going on. And here's the thing. It's not like this guy was even being sneaky. I get it. We're doing it in slow motion here. This guy is leaning and coming. The snap hasn't happened yet. He is screaming like a banshee. I don't understand how Tyrone missed this, but again, everyone makes mistakes, but brutal, man. Good thing just Jackson didn't get seriously hurt, because that's the more of the story. He's like, hey, man, why every time are you bringing me? Thankfully, this isn't a much worse story where he got hurt. It could have totally happened.
Yes, he could. He could have got concussed, or he could have, broke a rib. I mean, I caught him right in the sternum.
Right in the chops, man.
It was luckily, even though it was a very hard hit, it was a very nice, clean hit by the.
Correct.
I forget who the defender was for the Vikings, but
right
it was a clean hit. It was a good, solid hit. He drove him to the ground, but none of that landing on top of the guy, or we didn't lower the crown of the helmet.
Correct. Right.
Kind of hit him with his face up. So I like to see good hard hits like that when it's good, solid football and it's clean. That was nice.
Especially if you're a defender, you're like, I never get a shot like this on a quarterback where I am unabated and I am just, man, that's a unique opportunity that Vikings defender obviously took full advantage of. So there you go. Okay. Scary nonetheless, though.
Absolutely. And what you gotta love as a Giant fan is, Dart goes into that tent real quick. Okay, it's not a concussion. All right, let me out. All right, I'm sure he's screaming at the medical staff. This is ridiculous. I got the wind knocked out of me. Can I please get back on the football field? I'm trying to play football right now. And so he gets back out there very next play, and he throws a beautiful pass to Malachi Fields in the end zone. It was on the run. It was opposite his throwing, so he's running left. He's throwing a little bit to his right, and put it up perfectly high. Malachi Fields, what's the biggest asset he's going to bring to the Giants. It's catch radius. It's
Sure.
that he's a tall receiver out of Notre
Mhm.
Dame. And what does he do? He goes up above a 5'10" defender. He's about 6'3", 6'4", and then you got the long wingspan, and he catches the ball very easily, toe taps his way in, and gets the Giants their only touchdown of that game. So it was nice. That was like a big sigh of relief. First start's okay.
Sure.
Then he goes in there and throws a touchdown. And like, all right, let's get him out of the game now. Let's say, okay.
Yeah, right.
None of
That's
this
enough.
preseason nonsense. All right. None of this preseason nonsense. Let's move
Did
on.
Harbaugh pull a Dable? Did he like peek in the blue medical tent, tell him
No,
to speed
no,
it up or
He
anything?
did
Was there
not,
any of
no,
that
he did not.
controversy going
We
on?
all won't forget that, will we? Brian Dable over there yelling at the medical staff.
And they're like,
What are you
"Oh,
doing?
we're
We
just
need this
doctors."
guy out of there. What are you
Yeah, we
doing?
got a key third down coming
That
up here.
was very ill-advised. When Brian Dable
Poor.
did that. He'll never live. That was a viral moment too, man.
That is. Now he's in
Giant
Tennessee.
coaches and viral moments. No, Harbaugh didn't go anywhere near the tent.
Good,
He just
smart.
sent Jameis
Good
Winston
play.
out there, and then Dart came running over and said, "I'm fine." He's like, "All right, kid, get back out there, throw a touchdown, would you?"
Well, let me ask you this because it's a conversation in Jets land. So let's bring it Giants land, right? It's who's going to be the QB2 behind Geno Smith. It seems very clear that Cade is going to be the guy. He performed very well. It wasn't spectacular. He just got ball from point A to point B. No sizzle throws. He just ran the offense, and that was very nice. We go to Giants land here. Dart gets whacked, right? You see Jameis Winston trot out there. He's always one injury away from going out there on the field. How much trust do you have in famous Jameis that if he is called upon it, his number gets called again? God forbid it doesn't for Dart's sake. I hope he stays healthy. He's a young quarterback in the league. I don't root for injuries for anybody. That he steps into this offense and can deliver. What is your confidence level in that?
Huge, very high, very high.
Okay, great.
Maybe 9 out of 10. I think he's one of the 3 best backups in football.
Who are the other two?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know, but I mean, I know there are other good backups because there are battles going on some teams where a guy could be legitimately the starter. So I'd have to look at all the teams, but to me, he's a top 3. He's a top 3 backup. And when the dust settles, maybe he's even number 1 backup. I mean, so many teams have already talked about it that they'd love to have Jameis Winston as a backup.
Yeah.
And I think one of the good things about this guy, aside from the fact that he's been there and he's done some things and that he seems unfazed, is that he just seems to really be a positive locker room presence. Like he's just a fun guy, but fun in the right ways. People really gravitate to him and like him. Jameis Winston has really matured. I mean, we could go all the way back to the crab legs incident, right? Embarrassing crab legs incident in college.
Crab legs from a grocery store.
But I mean, the guy was a kid. He was he's still a late teenager. A very young man, and I think he's matured. Even when you see him, he does a lot of charity stuff for the Giants.
He does, yeah.
He's such a cult of personality. He's great to have for the charity engagement. He's just a very engaging guy, and he's very witty and bright, and so the Giants use him for a lot of that stuff, and he really enjoys it. He kind of loves being Mr. New York. So this has been a great fit for the Giants, both on the football field and off the football field, Jameis Winston. So I have a lot of faith. I mean, you don't want to go the whole season with him. I mean, that's not the idea. But, would the Giants completely fall apart if Dart went down? I would say not, with Winston in the fold.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I was just curious. Like I said, I was just curious. Yeah,
very high.
I think he is.
Okay, fair enough. Any other stuff from the Jet game? Anything else to report? So we got the Breece injury. I wrote down a couple. I want to talk to you about this one. Malachi Moore. What's going on with Malachi Moore, Boy Green? How dare you skip over this rather large story? This is a guy that came in and was expected to compete for one of the starting cornerback positions.
Safety.
What's up? Safety. I'm sorry. Yeah. What is going on with Malachi Moore?
Yeah, I'm very concerned. I just can't put it bluntly any other way. Now, I want to make this clear that I am as biased a guy as can exist in the universe. Minkah Fitzpatrick's one of the starting safeties. Obviously, They traded for him. They gave him a very rich contract. He's a 3-time former All-Pro. His spot is secured. The other spot, in theory, on paper, was up for grabs. And every training camp practice I've gone to, and I've gone to 2, Andre Sisco has been the starting safety opposite the former Syracuse product, of course, which is my bias because I've interviewed Andre in person before for the show. I've gotten to know him a little bit. Very nice guy.
For that guy, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
He was a ball hawk at Syracuse. Absolutely.
He 100% was. He had 13 picks in college. I was on the Inside the House beat when he was a high schooler and got to do an interview with him back there when he chose Syracuse. So, again, I've got a lot of connections to Andre. With all of that being said, I feel like the devil is in the details, Lurch. When you look at his contract, he signed a deal that gave him $1.25 million guaranteed. That's essentially vested veteran minimum. Essentially, it's a few shekels more, but that's all it is, which means that clearly his roster spot is not safe when you have that kind of contract. Last year, the year before, of course it was. He signed a 1-year deal for like $9 million, like $8 million of it was guaranteed. He was signed to be a starter and all that. He came back either because he just loves the Jets and he was a season ticket holder when he was a kid with his family, or he just didn't have other offers out there. So, like, the fact that he's been a starting safety, I'm like, well, the door is wide open here for Malachi Moore, a second-year player out of Alabama, a player the Jets traded up for in the 4th round to go get. For me, I was like, this is clear as day. This is your chance. Take, and it's not like you have to, solve a Rubik's Cube here. Just beat out Andre Sisco, which, again, on the surface seems like a capable, I don't want to call it easy. That's insulting to Andre, but it's a thing that's, can be done. Andre has struggled. He struggled last year with the Jets. And then this year, he's had a few moments in camp that have been good, a few moments that have been bad. The job could be up for grabs. Your former Giant, Dane Belton, could be in the mix for the starting job. I just have been woefully disappointed. In the first preseason game, again, I say the devil's in the details, but the eye in the sky never lies. Malachi Moore's running with a 3rd or 4th string on defense. Like, that's not good. That's terrible. And all of a sudden, now I went from, a couple months ago saying, oh, he should be the starter to, is he even going to make the team? Like, and it is a stunning turn of events. I imagine he ends up making the team because most teams keep 4 safeties on the roster. You have 2 free, you have 2 strong, and that's your 4 safety tandem. And the Jets have in no particular order Minkah Fitzpatrick, Andre Sisco, Dane Belton, and the 4th would be Malachi Moore. They do have a 5th, VJ Payne, but he's going to be out for basically the entire preseason with an injury, so I don't know what they'll do there. Maybe he gets IR'd and they play roster gymnastics. But, yeah, I was very disappointed in Malachi. It's upsetting. He started 14 games last year for the Jets, and to see him playing late in the game in the first preseason game is a terrible sign of how the coaching staff feels about him. So hopefully he can turn it around. There's still 2 more preseason games left. The next one up is Friday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So hopefully he seizes the day. They got another week and a half left of camp. So they got a week and a half of camp, 2 preseason games. Like, his job is on the line. And I want to see a sense of urgency from Malachi that he realizes, like, now is the time. I need to step up. And sometimes large pressure can make diamonds, but also sometimes pressure can crush a guy, and it's
Absolutely.
over. So yeah, I'm very concerned about Malachi Moore.
Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. We are presented by Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Box Drop Syracuse, the mattress and sofa outlet, where you can save 30 to 70% on your next mattress or sectional sofa. You see our YouTube link right there. Please, if you're not already a subscriber, click subscribe. Make sure that you are on that page right there before you click subscribe, because we do send this out through various portals, including Boy Green's channel as well. So make sure you're over here on at MC Show Digital before you click subscribe. And also don't forget to like the video. We love when you do that as well. 30 seconds. Our friends from Box Drop will come back. Plenty more to come, including the Giants signing a quarterback, Boy Green. That's right. Jameis, is his job secure? We'll talk about it. Stick around.
Considering that we sleep nearly 1/3 of our lives, buying the right mattress is essential. At Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofa Outlet, you'll get a unique experience, one that saves you 30 to 70% off retail prices on top-of-the-line mattresses like Sapphire Sleep. At Box Drop, you'll schedule a mattress fitting appointment and get one-on-one service directly with Paul, the owner. No middleman. Family-owned, huge savings, no-pressure sales designed to save you time and money. And now Box Drop Syracuse has sectional sofas and love seats as well, with prices designed to fit your budget. Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofas. Set up your appointment today at boxdropsyracuse.com.
All right, we're back talking all things Jets, Giants, Bills, recapping all of the preseason games for all 3 teams. We've covered the Jets a bit. I got a few other notes on the Giants, Boy Green.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
One of them is an actual signing by the Giants, and it is a quarterback. I kid you not. I think that Allen,
Brandon Allen.
There's so many Allens in football.
That's true.
All straight. Brandon Allen, who's been around the block in the NFL,
sure,
is right now the 3rd string guy for the Giants, and he went out there and didn't look all that great in this preseason game. So the Giants have signed Jake Haener. All right,
Haener is how you pronounce it. That's correct. Yep.
Haener, right?
Yep.
I remember seeing him play with the Saints at one point.
That's right. That's where he got drafted, a 4th-round pick
Fresno
4 years
State
ago.
guy, 2023 NFL draft. Didn't play in the 2023 season. Was only active for 8 games in 2024 with 1 start. So, young guy. And the Giants are going to give him a shot here through camp to see if they're going to carry a third, or maybe they're going to carry somebody on the practice squad. Maybe instead of it being Allen, maybe it's going to be Haener. So the Giants are certainly going to give that a spin. But 1 and 2 locked and loaded for the Giants.
Yes.
Assuming no injuries here, those 2 things are locked and loaded, I think, on that side of things. So
yeah, I think this is unfortunately more a Brandon Allen conversation than Jameis Winston. Winston's good. Jake Haener is a young player. I liked him coming out of college. He spent the first couple of years of his career with the Saints. He was with the Chiefs earlier this offseason. Now he's on the Giants, former All Mountain West product. Like Jake Haener's a young kid who's got potential, obviously. That's why he got taken in the 4th round a couple of years ago. So, yeah, I think danger Will Robinson, but switch out Will Robinson with Brandon Allen. Danger. They only have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. That's interesting, depending on the team. Some have 3, some have 4, some have 5. Some have a lot of quarterbacks on a 90 or 91 man roster. So it's interesting, certainly. But yeah, if I'm Brandon Allen, I am looking over my shoulder right now. Yes.
Certainly injury wise for the Giants. I mean, we know the Giants have had a handful of injuries, some of them dating all the way back to last year. But Cam Scatterbo was out for quite a bit of this game, was playing.
Yes.
Quite a bit of this game for the Giants, and he really looked good. He continues to have that burst. He had a couple of nice stiff arms. Again, running hard, running over guys. I don't know whether this guy can last the season the way he plays football, but you cannot not like this guy. You have to like this guy.
He's a psychopath. Yeah,
he's just a football player, man. He's just a crazy football player who loves contact and loves running over people and loves the whole concept of what football can be if you play it with that kind of ferocity. So he looked really, really good. And all signs out of Giant camp are that he's not even truly up to full speed right now, that he's still working his way up to full speed. But he just there's something about this guy, I mean, again, a lot of people liked him coming out of college, but then he didn't end up being way up in the draft, but he was, he's a guy that he has qualities that not a lot of guys in the NFL have as a running back. And when you watch him play, he just plays differently. And even though he's not the fastest guy, he's quick. It's the old quick versus fast. And he's quick. He's got this kind of twitchiness to him that makes him difficult to get a hold of sometimes. And then he's got the power to run right over you if he wants. So really, really nice debut for Cam Scatterbo, who obviously had his foot just completely, flipped reverse. I mean, the fact that he's back on a football field this year and playing and looking healthy is amazing. Because, I mean, that injury was gross. I mean, you saw that thing live.
Yeah, I did. Yes. Unfortunately.
Some things. It's like watching Lawrence Taylor, Joe Theismann. I can't stomach it anymore. Yikes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And again, not to get too vivid, but this is going to get vivid, I guess. And Lawrence Taylor's case, you could hear the sound, which was on the Theismann whole thing, and that was gross. But yeah, if I'm a Giants fan, how are you not elated injury-wise in terms of the report? Malik Neighbors, right? The early reporting from in the spring is like, oh boy, when are we going to see this guy? Could it be into the season? How many games is he going to miss? No, wait, actually, at the beginning of camp, we're already seeing positive signs. Scatterbo, for obvious reasons, with the gruesome injury, all of it. I'm trying to think of any bad ones, but as a Giants fan, you got to be encouraged.
On the Neighbors front, I don't think the Giants are likely to play him in the preseason, or if they do, they'll run him out there, for 2 plays or something in the final game if they feel it's even necessary, just for him to take a hit, for him to make a cut at full speed, kind of thing. I doubt they'll risk it, but definitely it really is feeling more and more like he's going to be ready for week 1, that he's going to be in there in week 1 playing football. So we'll see if it's whether that's fool's gold or not, but it really does feel good. The Giants need him in the lineup. I mean, without having a true number 1 wide receiver, that receiving core really looks watered down. And you certainly don't want to lean on a rookie like Malachi Fields heavy in the early part of his rookie season. Or
the other side, an OBJ who's on the other side.
OBJ, by the way, a little mention of him, certainly only caught 2 passes for 6 yards, nothing spectacular, but what was kind of cool was, number 1, the fans.
The crowd.
Game was at MetLife, and
that's cool.
The crowd was all about OBJ pregame, when he got in there, when he made his little catches. Production was nothing. But what was very, very appealing was just watching him run routes, watching him do things. As a matter of fact, got wide open on a play. They didn't see him. So
that could have been a touchdown. I heard him talk about that after the game.
So, he just looks like a guy that really truly is actually fighting for a roster spot on this roster and could make the roster. So to me, when it all started, I was kind of like, really? Like, why are we even doing this? Is this just nostalgia? But now it really is starting to turn into, he has a legitimate chance to make this roster. I think the thing that hurts him more than anything is that he doesn't play special teams. And that when you get down to those last few receiver positions, you love guys who have versatility, who could run out there on the special team, say a guy like Berrios, and also be in there in situational play as a wide receiver. And that's the one thing that OBJ doesn't do. So he has to prove it as a receiver. He has to say, I'm more valuable, have one less special teams guy because I'm that valuable as a receiver. So that's going to be the argument that he's going to try to make. So it's really fascinating. He is legitimately battling for a roster spot, which I wasn't so sure was ever really going to come to pass. So I guess I'm mildly surprised by that, and it would certainly be interesting if he made this roster, that's for sure.
I'm a nostalgia guy. We talk about the battle between analytics and touchy-feely all the time. Like, come on, man. OBJ getting into a game, catching a touchdown pass in the regular season. I mean, and being with the new era, to be with Eli Manning and then to be with Jackson Dart, catching touchdown pass from both, that would be obviously super cool for Giant fans, I imagine. So, this OBJ thing is cool. It's a cool story. Obviously, there's more camp to be had here. More camp to be had, more preseason games to be had. Now, the good news for OBJ is I don't think, with all due respect, that this wide receiver room is like this impossible Rubik's Cube for him to solve to try to find a spot on the roster. I think because of the construction, it gives him a better opportunity than it would in some other places to make the team. So good luck to him.
A little bit of a disappointment for me. Andrew Thomas did not play in this game. No injury. John Harbaugh explained it afterwards, like he doesn't really need to be out there. But they had the rest of the starting offensive line. I'd like to see the whole line. And so you got a guy playing left tackle. That's not going to be the starting left tackle out there. I want to see what the running game looks like with the right offensive line, the guys that are going to play in game one. I want to see the pass protection with the guys that are playing at the start of the season and are the starters. So, but I suppose with Andrew Thomas's injury history and all the things, they just don't want to risk anything unnecessary with this guy. He must be doing enough in practice that they don't care. We did not get to see, dare I say, the entire offensive line as a whole. Okay, we're still missing one guy from that starting lineup. Yeah.
So let me ask you real quick. Do you believe Harbaugh indicated that we may see Andrew Thomas at some point here during the preseason, or the other way around, like seeing the regular season, buddy?
Well, number one, John Harbaugh is saying nothing about anything. I mean, walked into this game, was asked about Jackson Dart, was asked about all these other guys. The only guy they said is going to play said OBJ is going to play. Okay, well, thanks. He's fighting for a roster spot. Let's hope so.
Of course. Right.
And then of course he did, roll out the starters, dare I say, at the beginning of this game for the most part. Now, guys that didn't play, Andrew Thomas didn't play, so a little disappointed just not to see that offensive line complete. Burns did not play in this game, so Brian, we had a starting bookends of Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau. Chauncey Golston looked really good in this game. Here's a guy that the Giants picked up last year after he left the Cowboys, right? I think he was on the Cowboys before he came to the Giants. Kind of looked pretty good for the Cowboys and did nothing for the Giants last year. But the talk was he was just a complete and utter missed piece for that system that Brian Daboll and his defensive coordinator were running last year. So the Harbaugh system seems to favor Golston, and so maybe the Giants can kind of turn him back into something because, there was a lot of hope that, he could come over and help. He made some big plays when he was playing for Dallas, and he came to the Giants and pretty much did nothing. It's like, we even keeping this guy another season. So there's another guy, I guess, fighting for a roster spot and showing a lot when you need to. So in fact, I was reading one write-up. They said they thought he was arguably the best defensive player on the field for the Giants in this game. Played 18 snaps, 2 tackles, 1 for a loss, 2 pressures, both quarterback hits. So he was out there making some noise, dare I say, defensively, which was nice to see.
Of course, yeah. I am kind of curious about the Giants roster construction because, again, you see it in Hard Knocks. It's not a it is a 1-for-1 trade, but it's not. You keep 4 running backs, that means you keep this many tight ends. You keep this many receivers, that means you can keep this many quarterbacks. If you take away a safety here, does that mean a fullback? Like, there's just so much. And again, it's super cool to watch that on Hard Knocks. And by the way, speaking of Hard Knocks real quick, Seattle, this has been captivating. Mike McDonald is a bizarre dude. Yes, man, he is interesting. And hey, you talk about greatness. Guys that win Super Bowls and being a few whatever short or different than this, greatness is hard to be defined. Wow. Hard Knocks is back, baby. It's been great to see. It's been very compelling. So a salute to the fine folks over at Hard Knocks.
He's a
That's
few
great.
beers short of a six-pack. What?
Well,
What's Mike
if
McDonald?
the shoe fits. I mean, there's a few tacos short of a combo meal, a few
Yeah,
beers
whatever.
short
Yeah,
of,
there's
short of
some
a
good ones out
six-pack,
there, right?
whatever. But again, like the cool thing is they don't care about anything. And it was cool to hear sort of his vulnerabilities about like, hey, I'm weird and I used to think what other people say. And he has like the Rex Ryan note in his office about like he thought he was going to be a jobber. And he says, I don't care about it, but he cares enough about it to have that note in his office. It's just, I don't know. He's an interesting dude. And shout out to Seattle Seahawks fans. I know we have one or two of them that are part of this greater community of subscribers. It's, hey, good for them.
Yeah, I love Hard Knocks, but I don't love it as much these days as I used to love it when it was the camp battles. I just thought that was really compelling, and we would find out things about players that we, in some cases, had never heard of. But it has evolved. Everything evolves, right? Adapt or die. And I get it. And I do like that we get to see more of the stars. Dare I say the teams? I thought always that was the one thing I was always like, hey, how about some of the stars too, though? I want to see those battles, but I also want to see the guys that matter.
Right. Yeah.
If it's Dallas, give me some Dak Prescott and some George Pickens. Give me some of those guys. I want to see those guys, and what they're like. So they've evolved and changed the show a lot, but it is still an amazingly produced show. And we saw it last year, and we were at a Bills camp last year. We saw them, because the Bills were the subject last year. And how many cameras, how many staffers, the sophistication of the equipment that they use, that they're using like almost like movie cameras type stuff. This is not just, people with, I don't say iPhones because we don't do that in a professional world, but it's not just people shouldering cameras, like we would see in just an ordinary TV broadcast. We're seeing something more spectacular. We're seeing boom arms and remote things and stuff attached to camera people's bodies as they're running around a play or a huddle. Like, it's pretty cool the way that they produce it and the sophistication that they use to get the shots that they get, to get the audio that they get, and to do their best to kind of take you inside a team. So Hard Knocks, I know maybe some of the luster is off the rose, the bloom is off the rose a little bit, but I still say it's always a worthy watch, folks. It really is, because it's just the production value alone, even if it's not the team that you root for. I have no particular interest in Seattle. But they do such a good job producing it that I'll watch every episode, because it's just worth it. It's just worth it based on the production value. And of course, always to hear Liev Schreiber's voice and to understand that guy is the guy. It's so bizarre.
Ray Donovan. There you go.
Like you see him in movies and you're like, how is that guy who has a nice voice, that voice? Like, it's amazing how he can take his voice and turn it into movie trailer.
Have you seen his setup for Hard Knocks?
It's amazing. Yes.
He had like an Instagram thing. It's like a phone booth in his house, and there's this mic and these weird like sound reflecting or preventative. Like, it's just fascinating to see.
Not messing around.
Yeah, definitely not. So, but yeah, I agree to your point, right? Like, so I've seen him in a bunch of shows. Ray Donovan is one of them on HBO way back in the day.
It's been in many movies. I've seen him in
of course,
movies.
1,000 movies. He was in the X-Men series as Sabretooth. Like, he's been a bunch of crazy roles, a lot of different things, but I don't think I ever went in there like, wow, what a voice. Like, he does have a good voice, but I didn't think of it
not
like like what's his name? Is Dave Kane? Is that the right
Kane,
first?
Yes, that's the Virginia guy. We call him the voice of God.
The voice of God. Like, hello, whoa, good, like an immediate visceral, like, wow, that is unbelievable. So again, it is strange, but again, listening to Hard Knocks, like it wouldn't be Hard Knocks without that voice. So it's compelling.
It's very, very compelling. Hey, great comment here from Phil. I meant to mention this, so thank you, Phil, for bringing it back into my mind's eye here.
Yeah, Jack
Clark, this late round draft pick linebacker that the Giants got from BYU, who has been getting some, pub, dare I say. He's kind of like Scatterboo and Dart. Like, he's just a wild man. He's just kind of a, maybe a little different personality, but he plays like that. He's a football player. And he looked really good. He got some significant playing time in this game and was just everywhere. Like, he's just a menace. He's a pain in the butt. He's a gnat. He just gets after it.
Does he have a path to making the roster?
Oh, he's making the roster. I don't think it's a
Okay.
question of whether he makes the roster. I think the question is, does he get some playing time? You know, like,
Damn,
do they
wow.
have to find some kind of role? He's not going to be a starter because, you know, they have Tremaine Edmonds and they have Reese. By the way, Edmonds did not play in this game. Reese did play. Got to see a little bit of Arvell Reese. The Giants didn't do anything dynamic with him. So he played a couple series. He was fine. Looked great. You know, guy's just a specimen. You see him on the field and you just want to drool. You wish you had his physique. But, you know, he didn't do anything, you know, like earth-shattering in terms of making plays and stuff. Nothing was just kind of really came at him all that much while he was in
Do
the
you
game.
mean, wait, just to correct, is this Jack Kelly you're talking about?
Jack Kelly. What did I say? I'm sorry.
Jack Clark, no, because
Oh, he
that's
said
what the
Jack Clark.
screen
Jack
says.
Kelly, yeah. Oh, he
I was
typed
very
wrong. That's why,
confused,
yeah.
and you
Jack
guys were all
Kelly.
talking about him. I'm
Yes,
like, Jack
sorry,
Clark,
sorry.
Jack Clark.
Yeah, Jack
Oh,
Clark's a
Jack
baseball
Kelly.
player. Yeah,
Yes.
Jack Kelly. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes,
okay,
Phil
yeah,
misspoke.
that-
Phil, don't worry about it. I've
No,
made
no,
mistakes
no.
like
Oh,
that too.
now I
And then
got
I
you.
read your
Yes.
mistake on the air. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
no,
But yeah,
no.
Jack Kelly. Yeah, he's just a menace. Like he's just a dude. He's just a, you know, you want a guy like that on your team. Like I could
Mhm.
see him. I'm sure that I wasn't really paying all that much attention to special teams in terms of who was, you know, running on the special teams and making tackles. But that guy's going to be on the special teams. I would bet $1 million.
You have to be as a
Um,
7th-round
and,
pick, I imagine.
yeah, and he's going to be. He has a role eventually. He's going to have a role. And if someone gets hurt, okay, he's going to.
You feel
know,
capable with him?
Yes, like he
Wow,
seems like
that's
a guy
crazy.
that's
It's a
like
7th-round pick.
right.
Yeah.
You just like those are the picks you love when you get a
Sure.
guy in the 6th to the 7th. Okay,
Mhm.
I think it was a 6th round pick because the Giants didn't have any 7th round picks. But he was the 6th, right?
Oh,
We
yeah,
got-
late 6th, 193.
They had 3 in the 6th, and they didn't have any 7th round picks. But
Yeah.
the guy, you just see him out there, and he belongs. Just right away, you go, he belongs. Who was the guy? Gosh, I hate when I can't come up with a name. He was played for the Dallas Cowboys, linebacker, white complexion guy. A few years back, Van Noy, right? Kyle Van Noy. All right.
He didn't
Right?
play for the Cowboys.
No, he didn't. Who's the guy to play for the
So
Cowboys? And it's not
here's a few random linebackers that may be
Yeah.
fitting. There's been Kyle Van Der Esch. There's been Sean
Maybe-
Lee. There's
maybe it's Van Der Esch, right? Van Der Esch,
Okay, let me see.
yeah, right?
Wait
Little
a second.
linebacker guy, right?
Hang on,
Gosh,
let me see.
sorry, when I can't come up with a name
No,
like this.
that's
But
right.
you know, immediately came in and just like, you know, he was, you know, okay, he was kind of a guy, and then like he got out there and played, and you were like, whoa, this guy can play, throws his body around, he's just physical. So yeah, so
Leighton
like
Van Der Esch. Leighton Van Der Esch. There
That's
you
who it
go.
is,
Could have
yeah.
been him.
So, you know, again, just immediately in the mix, immediately causing trouble for the offense, immediately like, get away, don't go near that guy. Look at him, he hits hard. And that's Jack Kelly. Jack Kelly is just a guy. He's just a hitter. He's just a
Good.
football player.
Again, these are the stories you love in camp.
You
man.
love stuff like that. So I think the Giants made a really good pick. There was a lot of buzz coming out of the draft that like, wow, that Kelly guy they got, like he could get in there, you know, and then you see him play and you understand why. If someone goes down, he's going to get a shot. He's going to get a shot. He's a good player. Good player. And we're definitely going to see him on the special teams. So he's making a roster. I don't think, I'm not John Harbaugh. I'm not making a roster. He's making a roster.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't see any way that guy doesn't make the roster.
I see this from R&R Party. By the way, this is coming up right around the corner. I've been seeing the commercials for it already.
Yes.
We're a month and a few days away.
Oh, yeah,
R&R
we
Party
go.
says, I would like to see Boy Green make the roster on Survivor.
That would be nice. That would be nice, R&R.
I've applied a dozen times, not to say I'm giving up or anything. Now, as I'm about to move into a house and all this, it seems that not the most convenient to do it, but they are looking for applications. I saw there's been a heavy social media presence of encouraging people to try out and or send in a video or anything. So I will always continue to try. I love that show. I want to be on it one day. So I will not give up until I make it on that show. And hopefully when I make it on that show, I'm good enough that they want me to come back because that would be awesome. So we'll see R&R Party. But yes, that will all be back. Me, Lurch, Brett LaBelle. Let me ask you this real quick on the Survivor Talk, Lurch. Did you enjoy the new look post game recap shows that we're doing? Like before, we would do it the next day on the radio, terrestrial radio, Thursday morning. Now it's in the moment, it's live moments after the episodes. Do you prefer the new live versions we've been doing?
Oh yeah. I mean,
okay.
I mean, it's tough being up crazy late at night.
That's true.
It's a long day for sure. And Wednesdays are a busy day for us because we're doing a live show and, sometimes even other interviews. So it's a long day. And then you got to watch the whole episode. The episodes are now 90 minutes, take copious notes and then be, ready to deliver content for another hour plus, in the post game. But striking while the iron's hot, being there right after something happens, that's when you get the best reaction, and we're going to be fired up about things. And yeah, so I think it's been great, and it's been awesome that Brett, has been able to make himself available live. That's not an easy thing for a guy like him to do. He's a police officer, very busy guy in Boston, and has a lot of other things going on in his life too. So the fact that he makes the time for us, and that we, are lucky enough to have him join us and talk about it from a perspective of a guy that's actually done it and been there is really, really cool. I mean, all the insight over the years he's given us about Fiji and what Fiji's like and how the production works and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just so invaluable to understanding the whole Survivor machine in a lot of ways. Very, very cool stuff.
It is.
So, yes, looking forward to that.
Yeah, we have a unique advantage, of course, of Brett being on the show, not just on the show, like someone was on the show and got eliminated first. He was there nearly all the way to the end, 38 days where he went all the way out there. Like, I mean, it's great. Brett's got a great relationship. You guys met, right? Lurch?
Yes, I went up to saw Brett. Yeah, I think I posted a picture on
you did
on our YouTube channel posts. If you go into our posts on the YouTube channel, I think I posted that picture. If I didn't, I'll make sure I did. I know we posted it on the gram. But yeah, no, I went up and met Brett in Boston a couple of months ago when I was up there. That was actually right at the beginning of the World Cup when the Scots were taking over Boston.
Oh, yes.
Literally when Team Scotland and all of the Scots were roaming Boston, which was pretty cool. A lot of people in kilts. And yeah, I met Brett at a nice establishment, and we got to spend a night together. And what I was amazed when I met him, I think I told this story on the air, but I'll repeat it quickly, is we're supposed to go to this one pub, and he's got a flag, and it was fantastic. I had TV screens everywhere. And we got in there, and they were like understaffed. And even though the place was half empty, they couldn't seat us right away. And like, it was just a big delay. And like, the game was about to start, and things were going on, So we were like, all right, we're out of here, because the Knicks were in the playoffs. That's when the Knicks were in the finals, right? I was up there during one of the finals games for the NBA title. I wasn't going to miss a Knick game, man. I had to see it. And so he says, don't worry, there's a place right down the block. We'll go there, So we go to the second place. This is just like a boom, like spur of the moment. And we're not even in his neighborhood. We're in some other neighborhood. He's kind of come to meet us, kind of close to where we are. And so we go to this other bar. It's a nice little Irish pub. We go in and we're sitting at the bar. And next thing I know, like 10 people, like random people just along the way in a course of a half hour while I'm sitting having a beer with Brett. Hey, Brett, how are you? Like, it was like he was like the pub was down a block from his house. Like, how did he know all these guys? And they were all like cop friends and other people. Cool. I was just like, and these weren't like Survivor fans. These are just people that he knows in Boston that just, from the cop world, And I went in, I told you I bought that Boston cop shirt. Yeah. I'll wear that on the show one of these days, although the big emblem's on the back, and then I get a little crest here on the chest.
Oh, you got a few like, hey, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting with Brett, so they think I'm a cop. Hey, buddy, what's up? And I'm like, all right, man, I'm good. I'm playing along,
Yeah, sure.
What? It's not precincts up there. What is it? Wards or something? I don't know.
Yes, I think you're right.
What ward are you? I'm like, I'm not a police officer. I'm just a friend of Brett's.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the shirt. Because the shirt. Boston Police on the back of it. I was out at the souvenir shops and I saw it and I was like, I'm gonna go meet Preston.
But Lurch, you could have faked it until you made it. Yeah, Ward 42. It's a real tough scene over there.
Right. I should have just played it up, right?
Oh, exactly. That would have been great.
42. There is no 42. I could have got myself in a bad lie. I wasn't gonna.
I guess that's true.
But yeah, these people are all so nice, and Brett is definitely kind of the toast of the town. So that was very, very cool. We'll have to go up and do that as a duo one day. You'd really enjoy it. He was very, very very accommodating and very, very nice to spend some time with. It was really awesome. He's a great guy.
So
as good as he is, he's a better guy than even is on the show when you meet him, outside the show. Fantastic.
Which does not surprise me at all. So again, the Survivor season starts, I believe it's like September 24th. It's a few days after, thank God, the Syracuse Mets season is over. So it's perfect timing on when one ends and a new era begins. And by the way, Lurch, we have a Joe Bartle update. Are you ready for it?
Oh, yes. Okay. Did you reach out to Bartle?
Okay, so I reached out to Bartle
on the fly. I love this.
Yes. Go ahead. So we had he knew that this was coming. I told him, hey, this is going to be about the time range. We'll let you know. I said, hey, are you good to start this Friday? And he says, yeah, I'm going to kind of be in a weird location this Friday. I'm just going to be on my lazy boy because he had reconstructive ACL surgery. Did you know this, Lurch?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so he's happy to hop on, but he will be whatever the word is.
And he's going to be on a gurney when he's
he'll be on his lazy boy, like his recliner, I assume. He's at home recovering, I believe.
Oh, he's just home recovering. Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
I believe as someone who had reconstructive ACL surgery, your full legs in a cast. So I think he's just going to be up, and then hey, here's my fantasy analysis. So he said I'll be in a weird spot, but he's in. So confirm he's good. Is that fine with you,
Yes.
Lurch?
Yeah, we're in. Let's go.
Okay.
Friday we
Okay.
start, baby. You
Okay,
know,
so
yeah,
3:15, folks. We'll have 3 live shows this week and every week moving forward.
absolutely.
So Mondays and Wednesdays at 3, and then Friday at 3:15 for Joe and some of his responsibilities. So a little later than we normally do, but only by a few minutes. So weekly fantasy football content starting this Friday. So here we go.
And Joe, by the way, he is an entrant in our digital league. So he's not
Correct.
playing in our champs league this
No.
year, which is our top league from the radio days, which
Right.
is still in operation. Instead, he is going to join our digital league. So
Yes.
that's going to be fascinating. Joe will be in the digital league. So, like, we'll be able to ask him for some advice in the champs and other leagues, but then we'll have to be careful about what we ask him for in terms of advice in other worlds. So,
Right.
always a challenge.
I'm
You know,
looking
it's always
forward
towing that line. We're always towing that line with Joe Bartle. I'm in the
Okay.
process right now, BG. Of go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue. Go ahead. Continue your thought.
Yeah,
there for a
just a
second.
quick thing. Just a quick thing here on because of Joe Bartle. So
Yep.
fantasy football. Do you feel comfortable taking any Giants this year? Right, Scadaboo's looking good. Neighbors looking good. Dart, who Brian Drake, of course, picked up every loose end he could and tried to flip it for something. You know, he can throw the ball. He can run the ball. Do you have any interest in any Isaiah Likely, any other Giant love that you're interested in this year?
Well, yeah. Isaiah Likely. If you watch that preseason game, we didn't even get a chance to talk about him. You can already tell, and we've been hearing this from Ed Valentine and out of camp, that like he is the safety valve for Jackson Dart. And so I think what we expected in terms of what he's going to produce, that he's going to produce a lot more now that he's not number 2. I think he's going to be the Giants' number 1 tight end, and I think he's going to be the Giants' number 2 receiver on this team behind what we hope is a healthy Malik Neighbors. So, I think that's kind of I think that's a given now that I've seen it even in a very small sample size in a preseason game. Like you could see Dart once, that a couple of short third down conversions that they went back to pass, and Likely was the guy. I think twice. Like it's just like, yeah, you could see it. You already see the connection. And Likely is kind of he's a freak. He's kind of a freak when it comes to what tight ends are. There's an athleticism to him. We saw it years ago when Travis Kelce first came into the league and having just that kind of crazy athleticism. So I think that we're seeing that now, and I think it's going to be special. I think it's going to be really cool. So
you'll be tantalized. You could see yourself potentially if the opportunity's right, taking your guys.
Yeah,
I'm not searching for fantasy tips so I could steal a guy from you. I'm just saying, you as a Giants fan, sometimes, both of our teams, let's be honest, both of our teams have stunk for like the last 10, 15 years. It's been terrible. And that normally leads to not taking a lot of fantasy guys very high. I'm just saying, if you have any, it moves you at all that like, hey, I could see that. I could envision that.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Dart is a potential on the table, but I would hope he's going to be a later round quarterback,
backup
and
probably.
maybe a backup on some teams. But I'd have some level of interest in him, but I'm not going to overdraft him. And I think the same thing for Likely. I think Likely is has a chance to have a breakout season by Isaiah Likely standards. That doesn't mean I'm not saying he's going to be the next Travis Kelce, folks. Don't misunderstand that. Just say there's an athleticism to him that's similar to what I saw with Travis.
But you're
Kelce.
not saying that.
I'd love to see him break out like Travis Kelce. Let's not get crazy. By the way, there's a picture of me and Brett at the Irish Pub there. All right.
Brett
I even wore my Boston City Connect jersey that night.
That's correct.
Right?
City Connect, and that is season 33 for Survivor fans out in the audience that maybe have never seen our recap shows, which, by the way, jump on them. They'll be coming next month. But old Brett LaBelle, season 33, Millennials versus Gen X, which is a beautiful symmetry, Lurch, to our Millennial and Gen X, which is sort of the vibe of the show. So that he was really the perfect Survivor person. I wanted to get multiple Survivor people, like 10, 15, and just rotate them and flex our Survivorness by having different people every week. Like, see, guys, that'd be very attractive. So for Brett to be the one and only guy, and he's been locked in for a long time, to be for Millennials versus Gen X, for us to be doing this on a week-to-week basis. That's super cool. I've never met Brett. Anytime I've gone to Massachusetts a lot. My fiance is from Massachusetts. We've always been two or three towns separated. And by the time the night is over, we couldn't see each other for whatever the reason was. So yeah. So Lurch, you've checked it out.
No excuse. I go up there once every 10 years, if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
You go up there a lot more than I do. So
that's a good point.
But yeah, like I said, if you do get the opportunity, I would definitely do it. He's a great guy and super hospitable, and he knows everybody in the town. It's freaking
apparently
crazy.
So that can help.
Nacho says likely has been ready to break out, but was stuck behind Mark Andrews, and I do think there's some truth to that, Macho. But like if he was that good, right? Like this is why I'm optimistic that he's going to be very helpful. But am I thinking he's, going to get anywhere near 1,000 yards of receptions this year as a tight end? Like, I just think that's such a leap because if he was that good, John Harbaugh's a smart coach. He's not going to bury him behind Mark Andrews. I mean, Andrews is a wonderful tight end, but he's not Travis Kelce. Okay.
Yeah.
And so why would he be so buried behind the guy? Like it just.
And why do they choose him? Like Mark Andrews is, let me get ages right here. Okay. So let me pull this up. Andrews is
going to be 32.
He's 30. He just turned 30 and, let me see. Actually, he will be 31 next month. So he turns 31 and I want to see Isaiah Likely here for a second. He's got to be 25 maybe. He's 26. So he turned 26 in April. Why did the Ravens, they had a chance to make a choice and they chose. They gave Mark Andrews a fat 3-year extension at his age and said, yep, we pick him. And he had the brutal drop against Buffalo, the 2-point conversion that basically blew it for them.
Yeah.
They chose old man Mark Andrews over Isaiah Likely. They could have given the same money they gave to Andrews, turned around and give it to Likely. Likely is a Raven. Andrews is likely gone. That still, befuddles me. Like, why? And again, people make mistakes, right? So I'm not saying the Ravens are right. They let Likely go and he's going to be a scrub. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just crazy. They know all his warts. They know his strengths. They know his weaknesses. They're like, yeah, we're good. You can leave. And I'm just like, And they pay Andrews. Like, that's weird. But again, teams make mistakes. Baker Mayfield's a great example. Look at him. He bounced between the Panthers and Rams, all these different teams, and boom, he's terrific in Tampa Bay. So it happens. Teams make mistakes. Guys slip through the cracks. It is bizarre, though. Very bizarre.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's a big piece of the puzzle is, there's reasons for things, and when a player pops, you don't leave him behind another guy unless the other guy is phenomenal. And listen, Macho's arguing his point here. He's saying, let me go back to his original comment. I'm sorry, a little too far there. That Andrews was the best tight end other than Kelce for years. He was up there. But there was a big gap between him and Kelce. Let's at least put it that way. I know Andrews scored a lot of touchdowns. I had him in fantasy a bunch of times. But there was no confusion between the two guys in terms of their overall athletic ability and, what they could contribute. But Andrew's numbers were very, very good. And then Macho goes on to say he fell off about 2 years ago, which is true. He has kind of fallen off 2 years ago. But Paul makes the great point about, then why choose him? Why not choose Likely and just let Andrews walk? Like, if Likely's that good, why wouldn't Baltimore do that? And it's not like the Giants paid him like crazy money. He got a
4-year 44, I believe.
Got a nice bump, but I mean, it's not insane money if the guy is going to be your starting tight end and you consider him really good.
Oh, 340. Excuse me. I had that incorrect. 3 years, 40 million. 3 for 40 flat. Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, he's getting some nice money. I mean, he needs to produce.
Yeah, that's good money. Sure.
But it's not like off the planet money, they
could 12.5 per year. Let me see where that ranks among the highest paid tight ends. Let me see real quick.
And I wonder, curiously, what are they paying Andrews per year right now? So is this,
we're about that.
Was there any financial gain here to be had, by, I mean, so I would think not, but let's see.
Oh my goodness gracious. All right. So here, let's go through this. So the highest paid tight end in football is George Kittle. He's making $19.1 million. So that's a lot of scratch. Mark Andrews is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is the 5th highest paid tight end in the league, just over $13 million per year. He signed a 3-year deal for $39 million. So he's making $13 million per year. And Likely, he's above him. Oh, I didn't see him at first because I'm blind.
But I mean, so they're basically playing these guys just about the same amount.
Basically, yeah. So, for a 5-year age gap.
1 year, 1 year. Why didn't you pay the younger guy who you think has more upside if you believe that to be the case? What I do like is that John Harbaugh knows this guy. John Harbaugh knows what he practices like. John Harbaugh knows how well he picks up the playbook. John Harbaugh knows whether he has good habits, during the offseason. He knows all this about Likely before he decides, hey, let's bring this guy in. Because let's face it, the Giants were not coming off an awful year. I mean, they needed more depth at tight end, but Theo Johnson, popped last year. I mean, he had some bad moments, but he also had some really good moments, and he looked to be a guy that, okay, this guy's got a bright future at the tight end position. So I'm not saying they didn't need to add some things to the room,
right?
But they didn't necessarily have to go out and get a number one. And yet it feels like Likely is now number one. Theo Johnson is now number two. That's what it feels like to me with the Giants right now. And I think it's going to play out that way.
So let me ask you, Lurch, was 4D chess being played by John Harbaugh? Because Macho's Talk Sports is right. Mark Andrews got paid while John Harbaugh was still the head coach of the Ravens. Did he do that to allow Likely to be a free agent so he could go to the Giants and steal Likely in free agency to the Giants?
There'd be some collusion here of some sort.
Some conspiracy theory. I mean, that is true. Harbaugh was there, and I imagine he had a lot of say in personnel and roster decisions. As a
I would think so.
I would think
so. But they have a pretty tight ship there too. Ownership's pretty tightly connected to front office.
They got the
seems like their GM is pretty, has a lot of autonomy there. So I don't know. I Harbaugh certainly had influence, but not like he's going to have with the Giants, or not like he has with the Giants. I shouldn't even say going to have, has with the Giants. I mean, he is being leaned on much, much more with the Giants than I think he ever was in Baltimore.
Because that's what Macho was saying.
Yep.
Harbaugh gave him the extension in December, got fired in January. He knew he was leaving and wanted to get Likely to the Giants.
That's a little too crazy conspiracy from me, Macho. I listen, it's all true. There's nothing you said there that isn't true
of the timing,
other than, right, the beginning part of that statement. But number one, I don't think John Harbaugh knew he was out the door. Okay.
I don't. It sounded like he was surprised when he got the call.
I think he was very surprised. And I think a lot of us were surprised. Even though the chatter was out there amongst talking heads out there. It was out there. Like,
sure.
They might be getting sick of Harbaugh. Look, they didn't do anything again in the playoffs. Maybe they should think about something. But a lot of that stuff gets out and there's nothing to it.
No. Sure.
And then, but boom, it did happen. And I don't think Harbaugh knew about it until the decision was made. And then, obviously, it didn't take very long for Harbaugh to get another job now, did it? And I think if he didn't have the Giant job, he'd have 3 other possible jobs. Like, he was going to get a job.
Apparently did. Yeah, Titans made a push. I'm trying to think. Oh, Dolphins wanted him. It was Dolphins, Titans. Well, I think more than that, but he was able to have, the cachet to say, thank you, 15 teams that were interested, but these are my 3, and then went from there.
A little bit more choosing for a guy like John Harbaugh.
Hey, it's a great place to be if you could be in it. Yeah,
it's a fantastic place to be. It's a fantastic place to be, and I think he's deserving of it. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. I know we don't decide these things until guys are done, but I think he's going to the Hall of Fame, and I think what he's going to do with the Giants, at the least, he's going to provide immense stability in an organization that has really lacked it for 10+ years. It's just been a mess. And they need stability. And if he provides nothing else other than stability, it will have been a good run with the Giants. But, of course, I expect more than that. But I think at worst, he's going to provide stability.
Hey, Lurch, let's get some trivia in here, huh?
Okay.
I know you love trivia, okay? So John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl, of course, with the Baltimore Ravens. How many head coaches in NFL history have won a Super Bowl as a head coach with 2 different teams?
Wow.
As the head coach.
Ooh. I don't know why
because that's what you want
on my radar at some point,
Because that's what you want if you're a Giants fan. You want Harbaugh to eventually do that for you, so he would join apparently a very elite list.
Just an absolute random guess. Okay. I don't want to spend a half hour trying to dope this out. Think about the history of football. It's just too much to do it.
Okay,
I'm going to say 3.
3? Is that your final answer?
Yeah. 0. None.
No head coach has ever won a Super Bowl as the head coach with one team and then done it with another team. And here's the list of people that were close.
Wow.
Yes. Don Shula won one with the Dolphins, lost one with the Baltimore Colts. Bill Parcells won one with the Giants. I was going
to say, damn, he didn't win another one.
One with the Giants and lost with the Patriots to the Packers in the Super Bowl in the 90s. Mike Holmgren won with the Packers, lost with the Seahawks. He lost to the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Andy Reid, of course, he lost in the early 2000s, won one with the Chiefs.
Yes.
Dick Vermeil lost with the Eagles, won with the St. Louis Rams. Dan Reeves.
So if he wins one with the Giants, he's a Hall of Famer. He's the only coach.
That's what I was just about to say.
To win
because if we're talking 100% to be the first team to ever do that.
I have to admit, I am shocked at number 0. I'm not shocked that it's low.
Yeah.
But I am shocked that it's 0.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That's true.
That's crazy.
100%
That's
true.
crazy. For some reason, I had in my mind Parcells one too. So I thought I had one in my head already. Like that's
Yep.
one, you know.
Yep.
But there's got to be others. Come on, going back into
Nope.
the. But then, if you really think about the history of football,
Sure.
there aren't a ton of coaches, especially if you go back to the, dare I say, the old days of football.
Sure.
All right, let's say post 1980. Okay,
Okay.
pre 1980. Coaches, you know,
They weren't changing teams a lot.
right? They weren't changing teams. You just had the successful ones just stayed forever. You know,
Chuck Noll,
right?
Vince
So there was no
Lombardi.
team jumping like there is now. And then if you didn't make it, you rarely got a second chance. And now we retread guys all the time and we bump them from place to place. They say, that was a bad. Look at Robert Saleh. I'm still scratching my head how the heck he got another opportunity so quickly. He's 1 season away from
year
the
and a
Jets.
half later.
It was a disaster with the Jets. Now, you can blame some of it on management, but it's not all management's fault. It felt like the guy lost the room, man. I mean, people in an organization, players, were saying some weird stuff about him when it ended. I was just like, boy, I thought this guy was going to be gangbusters, disciplinarian, earn everybody's respect, and it kind of got messy. And now, like, all I hear is the greatness of Robert Saleh again. I don't know, man.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. I mean, I do think he's starting with a pretty good roster in Tennessee, even though they weren't a very good team last year. They do have the quarterback, they think. Maybe. We'll see. They think they have the quarterback. They picked him number 1 overall in the draft. They better hope they got it right.
Right.
You know, they've added some other nice pieces because of their poor performance in recent years.
Carnell Tate, of course.
So, you know, I don't know. Let's see. But
I love that's impressing so many people. That's wild. Like people were guessing in the comment section. It is an unbelievable. And this was a spur of the moment. Lord Trish is calling him a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, you know, if he really wants to make it to the Hall of Fame, you want to punch in your ticket, and there's no question. Win a super, become the first it's dead true, folks. You could Google it, look it up yourselves.
Yeah.
A head coach has never won a Super Bowl with 2 different teams as a head coach, right? Bill Belichick won a cajillion Super Bowls with the Giants and Patriots, but he wasn't a head coach with the Giants. He was an assistant coach. So again, as a head coach, it has never happened before. A few have gotten close, but no one has ever done it. So
all right, let me do 30 seconds from our friends at Northeast Roofing Boy Green. Pop in the phone lines for anybody who's a member. We'll do members-only phone calls. We'll do that on the way out of the show today. And I did at least want to spend just a couple of minutes just talking about at least one thing about the Buffalo Bills and their preseason game and the aftermath. So we'll do that when we return. Caller lines open to members only when we return from this break. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Be right back.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
We're back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Don't forget to like the video on the way in. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe today. We are closing in on 1,000 subscribers. We need every single one of you who's not a subscriber to click on that subscribe right now. It's absolutely free, and help us get to 1,000 subscribers.
36 away, Lurch.
36 away. Love it. Okay, come on. Be one of those 36 right now. Get us to 35, 34, 33.
By the way, if you want to call in, do it over here. I didn't even put it on the Boy Green channel. So if you want to call in and you're a member, do it right over here, youtube.com/@MC Show Digital. That's the place to do it.
All right. Quickly on the Bills before we go to phone calls, I just want to at least do this. First of all, pretty standard preseason game for the Bills. They went out, played well, won their game, unlike the Jets and the Giants. They actually won their game. Good for them. And not that it really matters in preseason. It's really about what goes on with the team. I think that's more important. But it was impressive offensively. Josh Allen did start in this game, so they got them out there because they're in that beautiful new building that they just built. Absolutely brand spanking new. But the talk again coming out of this preseason game is the stadium, or in this case, the grass, the turf. So it looked beautiful. I mean, on TV, initially it looked fantastic, and then now they've got pictures roaming all over the internet. It was like stomping the divots that you'd see like at a polo match after they're done. When you're at halftime of a polo match, you know, all the people go out there in their shirts and ties and dresses and, you know, stomp the divots back in because the horses, you know, dig up the turf. Well, that's exactly what happened in this Buffalo game, where they're doing a natural grass surface out there in Buffalo in the new Highmark Stadium, and it's not taken all that well. And so there were clumps of it coming up, and there were literally people out there patting back down the grass after the game. So I don't know where this is all headed. I mean, I think the players love the idea of the natural turf, but then the question is, can they, can it hold up? And then you're talking about a lot of bad weather, a lot of cold. I know they can heat these fields from underneath now. They have amazing drainage systems that pulls the rain and the snow off of them when there's wet on the field. But man, we had a beautiful summer day and that turf was popping up all over the place. So that's kind of been the story coming out of that Buffalo Bills preseason game, other than a nice win by the Bills. So bad press again for the poor Bills on this stadium. My goodness.
Well, this is just a loud message to Jet fans because it came up over the weekend. I just mentioned the story earlier. Cade Klubnik, our rookie quarterback out of Clemson, would have led 2 touchdown drives if the old turf monster apparently didn't grab Breece Hall when he was breaking free for a touchdown. So, the proof was in the pudding. All he had to do was get in. And people, because the Jets do not have grass, of course, and people are like, boo-hoo, put grass in. And look at the Bills. They put grass in. Look at that. They're getting torched. So it's not always so nice on the other side, is it, people?
It's hard to maintain. That's the difference, but I like the lack of injury thing. All right, let's go to some phone calls. Jamie, the FedEx guy, Mr. Hall of Fame himself. Look at him back in the truck again today. Yeah, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hard at work. Always hard at work.
By the way, thank you for the nice comments, a nice text to me this morning about my testing and everything. Everything went great, by the way. I'm fantastic.
Yeah,
Please
sounds great,
brother.
man. Child, sounds great, and sounds great. I'm glad you made it out. And I said in the comments, Boy Green, I tried to sabotage the Manchild this morning because I do deliveries to that center that he was at. So I had 11 boxes, and I was going to try to squeeze in there and say, yo, Manchild, who you taking that to in the Champs League?
Did you do it when he was unconscious laying on the table? Were you able to sort of try to see if you could hey, doctor, can you open up his head so he could get in his brain real quick? And what's the pick? While he was just sort of laying there lifeless?
But literally,
I tried.
His delivery route, sorry, Jamie, his delivery route is in the neighborhood where I was going for the testing, which is a couple of villages over from where I actually live. Had to go over to this center. And he said, I deliver there all the time. I'll pop in there. What time are you going to be there? And then he beat me there. I wasn't there yet. He's like, hey, I'm here. I'm dropping off 10 boxes. I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way. I don't know that I really need to see you on the waiting room on the way into this procedure. I'm trying to kind of forget about
guy. I appreciate that, Jamie. That's very nice.
I do appreciate it. Sorry, we missed each other at the waiting room of my colonoscopy.
Could have given him a high five.
Well, Boy Green, I could have planned it better, but he gave me misinformation. He threw me off his scent because he told me his appointment was 9:30 and it was 9:45.
Oh, that's on Lurch. And then you try to be early to things, and then he's like, geez. Yeah, I think that was on purpose. I think that was diluting the water, which is why we should keep a careful eye on him with his fantasy football information you're trying to extract. He dilutes the water. Oh, he says, sure, it's this number 2 pick. And we're like, oh, wow, we took him at his word. This is Survivor. We just got information is power, baby. Let's go. And he does something else. You're like, whoa. You told me you were going to take him. He's like, hey, sorry, pal. I made a decision. I changed my mind. And you're like, jeez. So here he is. Yep.
I'll tell you what, for having the number 2 pick in the draft. Yeah. I never thought I would be waffling as much as I'm waffling currently.
Why are you waffling? There's no waffling. Someone else is making the pick. As soon as they make the pick, they've made your pick. That person should just make both picks.
Who I'm going to choose.
But they should make the pick. Who's number 1 in our league, Jamie?
Mark Rowlands.
Mark, if you're out there in the audience, make your pick and Manchild's pick. For the first time, make history. With the number 1 overall pick, I take this, and Manchild will take this. All right, number 3, you're on the clock. Because you're just taking the other guy. We all know it.
Yo, Boy Green.
I'm not so sure that's going to happen. Okay, you say so.
Yeah, Boy
Jamie's
Green.
Jamie's number 3. You're 3, right, Jamie? You 3?
Yeah, I'm 3.
So if I decide not to go chalk, dare I say, he's going to get that guy.
No, Boy Green, me and Manchild are going to make history because we're both going to shock the world because your so-called number 2 guy plays for a crap-ass team. The Falcons are going to be crap this year because Tua is the quarterback. They're going to be horrible. So Bijan's going for a slide.
Wait, let me see.
I'm second guessing like there's no tomorrow after watching that preseason game. Just see that.
See. And Jamie, where do I pick again in this draft?
You picked down there.
Yeah.
Okay, make me the jabber this year where Bijan falls into my lap at 12. Please come on down. Yeah,
Come
people
on.
say it's not going to happen. Somehow that
I was
happened in that
downright
funky
angry about
draft.
that. Yeah, that wasn't good.
I can't believe.
Ugh.
Like, come on, man.
Disgusting.
Yeah, sign me up.
That
Yeah,
right
he
now.
slid to 10 that year. He slid to 10 that year, and Jeremy
close
got
enough.
Derrick Henry in round 2, and that's why he
Oh.
won the title.
Beautiful. Hey, good for him, man.
You just keep trying to pump me, Jamie. I'll tell you. Everybody thinks it's going to be chalk. We'll see. I'm going to do a Jamie and go shock the world, man.
Yeah.
I think our drafts start. Wait, let me check. I've got the fantasy app here. Let's see when they start. Okay, let me look. So that's 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th. Okay, so 30th. So that's 13 days away. What's this one? 29th. Okay. Oh, maybe not. I thought we had a draft coming up next week, but it looks like maybe next week is when they're happening. Okay, I was just taking a peek here. Okay.
Everything's the following weekend. I got a busy weekend.
Yes.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, I've got back-to-back weekend drafts. It's whatever the final whatever those final days are, like the 28th, 29th, and then 6th, 7th, whatever the next week is. So yeah, I have another week of preparation. Excellent. Great.
Nice. And I'm glad Joe Burrow's coming back. So, maybe I'll ask him for some advice. Maybe.
Anything
Friday,
else?
yeah, he will
Jamie?
be here. Yes.
I know DJ Moore, he's going to come home to my team. So, Manchild, stay away from that dude.
DJ Moore action.
All yours.
One catch,
please.
33 yards. He's looking pretty good. Number 1 for the Bills. So
Hey, so is Singletary for the Giants. Should I get him too, man? Scoop him up. Sure. Get a nice run.
Hey, Tyrone Tracy, I hear. Yeah, he's great.
Tyrone
Yeah,
Tracy, he's hot commodity.
Yeah,
right
he'll
now.
be available. I can confirm that. Yeah.
it's gonna
Just
be
about any team in the NFL, it looks like.
Yeah, it's gonna be phenomenal watching Boy Green fall off his chair when Bijan goes 4. And then in the digital world, it's a slam dunk. I'm taking home that title with my first 2 picks.
He wants
so you
that
guys
belt,
can try
baby.
your best.
Right over here. It's
Okay,
right
we'll see
over
what
here.
happens.
Hanging on my
Appreciate you, Jamie.
closet door, baby. Ooh, that thing's
Yeah,
shiny.
yeah.
Ooh, that thing is nice. Ooh. All right. Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome. Have a good
Thanks
night,
for the
fellas.
kind words as well. Appreciate it. All right. There he goes, Jamie, the FedEx guy. Let me pull him out of the room here. Let's go to Bad Shaw, who's joining
Nice
us.
job, Larry.
With the shades, baby. What's
Yeah,
up, Bad Shaw?
he's cool. He's cool.
Oh, not much.
Very
I was off today, so I thought I'd holler at y'all. I don't ever get to
Nice.
call in, so I was
That's
gonna see. I haven't been able to hear the full thing on Breece. So what like you don't have to give me
Give
the
him
whole
scoop, you
story,
do.
I guess, but just a
Yeah.
synopsis of what happened.
Yeah, of course. So we all start freaking out during the morning when Breece goes down. Apparently, non-contact, just collapses to the ground, and people said he was reaching for his upper right leg. And there's a lot of speculation: was it groin? What was it? He gets up, walks to a blue medical tent, gets evaluated, and then we're all on pins and needles waiting for Aaron Glenn to speak. Of course, he spoke earlier today, speaks tomorrow, and speaks Wednesday. And apparently, it was a tweaked groin, whatever you want to call it, a strained groin, whatever. And Aaron Glenn does not think it's serious, thank God. And Mike Garafolo described it as a sigh of relief for the Jets. He will undergo imaging. Aaron Glenn wants to double check, but he says everything that he knows that it's not going to be serious and it's fine. So it's just, again, bullet dodge for everybody. I just said at the beginning of the show, obviously we knew this Breece thing because it was the headline of the video, but Jet fans before this news today, you felt pretty good about the injury situation all camp, knock on everything that's around us. We've been pretty good. There's been a few weird ones, Devondre Sweat, Joseph Sigh, but both those dudes were back at practice today, which is good. So, yeah, that's the skinny. Again, we're waiting on imaging, so I'm sort of refreshing Twitter to see if an insider gets the scoop on whatever that is. Aaron Glenn speaks tomorrow and the next day. So he's got to, unless this is the worst imaging of all time, it's a $1 billion organization. We should know the answer to that tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. So hopefully all good in the hood. I like Braylon Allen a lot, but I'm not ready to just say, all right, Breece, we just spent $45 million on him. Like, let's see what Breece is supposed to be.
What did both of y'all think about Braylon Allen's touchdown in the preseason?
Oh,
Like,
I thought
it was pretty impressive just how his get up, he's like at 250 right now. I just thought that was kind of impressive, the speed.
Definitely.
Well, part of what Paul was saying earlier in the show, and it really holds true, is that the Jets last year it felt like really on the cusp of maybe handing the job over there and maybe not sticking with Breece Hall, and that Braylon Allen would have a legit chance to kind of take that job and maybe even hold on to it. And now here we are a year later, Braylon Allen has that terrible injury. They end up re-upping with Breece, and now they're definitely, at least for the time being, sticking with Breece. I mean, if they don't want him after a period of time. Now, I would imagine they'll try to trade him, to try to get some value back. But now he's their guy, and now Braylon Allen finds himself back in this kind of weird underdog role. Well, he'll have a chance to get some opportunities, and those hungry guys, look out, those hungry guys, they can sometimes catch the other guy in front of them. So it's going to be fascinating. He's an interesting specimen. He runs hard. I agree with you, Badshaw. He really runs hard.
Yeah. So I would just say, again, it was against the Bucs backup, so take that for whatever you will, whatever layer that you need for that. But I think there's been a lot of things said about Braylon that he's just whatever you call the babes on the beach. They just look good, but like there's no personality or something. Like people have been saying that about Braylon forever. He's just got a great body, physique that we all lose our minds about. He's chiseled from the gods, but he can't. But a fantasy analyst, I wrote about it a month ago or something like that. They called him out and said he's a terrible football player and he just looks good in shorts. And I was like, wow. He just had this very strong take, and Braylon saw that and quote tweeted it with pictures of him looking amazing and just like a big F you, buddy. Like, yeah, I look good and I play good too. So, no, it was cool to see him, first off, just back on the football field. It was the first time he's back on the football field since the season-ending knee injury in terms of being in a game. To see him run away from people and he's put on 12 pounds of muscle is unbelievable. So I'm excited for him. Again, I want Breece to be healthy, and hopefully Braylon just carves out his own role with Breece in conjunction. We have a champagne problem of everyone looking great, and you just have to find ways to get them both on the field. I hope this does not happen. There's some terrible news on this imaging, and Braylon just becomes RB1. If he does, so be it. We will embrace it. We're Jet fans. We got to roll with the punches, but I hope that's not the case. I hope he just sort of, like I said, carves out his own role. But, yeah, I was fired up to see it for him. I was.
Oh, yeah. And, another thing, I know, Tampa, they didn't have their starting defense in, but Garrett Wilson, that catch, that is what you want a number one going against a bunch of number twos to do. I mean, come up with the catch and hang on to it after that. That was not easy to come down with that ball. Man, I will always sing Garrett's praises. He's hands down my favorite. He was when Sauce and Quinnen were on the team. I just love Garrett. I hope, I really hope he has an awesome year and he can be a consistent go-to. I'm hoping Mason Taylor, I was enjoying seeing a few passes to him and everything, but it's one of those things I heard Lurch saying earlier where it's kind of like, Paul comes away with the positives and you're kind of like, I don't know if I got enough answers and whatnot, and so that's kind of how I felt coming from the game. I was like, there were some good stuff, but then there were some other stuff where I was just kind of like, I'm kind of just right in the meh. Like, you want to come, obviously you want to see the Jets come out there and just like slap the piss out of the Bucs, for the whole game and everything. But no, we'll see. It definitely could have been a lot worse, and I thought Klubnik looked pretty good. Zappy looked terrible.
Oh, okay. He looked bad. Awful.
And if it comes down to three quarterbacks, are y'all thinking Cook? Because I mean, Cook definitely played better, but now I don't know if they had the same string in against each quarterback. I didn't really know how that went down.
Yeah, I think
does it really matter? Because if you ever get to number 3, it's a
probably
disaster for every team. Like if the Giants are down to number 3, we're done. If the Redskins, the Commanders are down to number 3, it's done. Like if you get to number 3 on your roster, it really doesn't matter who the heck it is. You're in big trouble. So you really want to have a good number 2, though. I do think it's fair to really discuss in depth number 2s and why they matter so much. But I think once you get to number 3, unless they're developmental, if to me, in all honesty, and I don't know if Paul will agree with me or not, we haven't talked about this on the air, so I'll bring it to the airways. In my opinion, I would have liked to see the Jets get another, call it a bridgy guy, another veteran, and not be forced necessarily to make Klubnik number 2, which just looks like where it's going. I know every Jet fan wants to see him play and they want to test the waters, but I still always think it's nice to have that security blanket, because he's probably not ready. So, why are you trying to force it? Don't force guys. Let them develop, and then when they're ready, then you let them out of their nest. It just, You have to do that, I think, with players. I'm a big fan of that. I've preached it forever. I think a lot of times I'm screaming from the rooftops like Chicken Little and no one listens to me. But there are a few coaches out there that actually believe in that. And I think that if you really looked at the history of it, more guys have had success going that route than being forced into the role right away. I don't like it when they force these rookies in it. They're not ready, most of them. Not.
So this is a dating reference, I guess. But if you're at the bar and there's a couple of threes around a 6, the 6 rises in value, right? The 6 looks like an 8. So when Bailey Zappi looks like a -5, Brady Cook being a 2, I'm like, not bad. Now, I'm comparing it to a -2, but so was Brady Cook better than Bailey Zappi? Yes. Is that more a compliment to Brady Cook or an insult to Bailey Zappi? Yes.
Sure.
So I think that's where it gets a little complicated there. And then same thing to you, right? You're going to that layer of it. To me, as the roster is currently constructed, I'll do another 53-man roster prediction on the show at some point, probably after that final preseason game. Like, I'm cool keeping 2 quarterbacks right now. Now, in theory, let's get 3. You bring in whoever this veteran is. It's Geno, veteran, Cade, and then you just have a little bit more insulation in case something goes wrong. Exactly. To have one injury and then it goes Geno to Cade and then you have no one else, you're like, oh boy. Yeah, and then what? I assume you're going to have one of maybe both Bailey Zappi and Brady Cook on the practice squad. Maybe not because Zappi played so poorly. Maybe they just rip the Band-Aid off and move on. But one of those guys probably on the practice squad and they move up. I would just like another arm in the bullpen that I feel a little bit better about to just be a professional quarterback. So I think those answers to the test are coming. We got 2 more weeks of preseason. Final roster cuts are on the 30th. We're 13 days away from that. Believe it or not, folks listening in the universe.
Oh, really?
We're 13 days away from final roster cuts. Wow. So it is coming upon us very quickly. There's a lot of action packed in a very short window of time. So, that'll be something to watch at final roster cuts / trade. Darren Muji, he knows that roster cut day is on the 30th. The 29th, he starts making calls. Hey, instead of just cutting the guy for nothing, we'll give you a 7th. Okay. Bing, boom, bam. And you jump the line and get some preference. That could happen. Totally.
One other thing I want to say, Bad Show, you mentioned Garrett Wilson earlier, and I just want to say something about that. I think he's one of the best receivers in football, and he deserves to have a good quarterback. And, it's funny because, again, I'm non-discriminatory when it comes to who I want on my team in fantasy football. And, Garrett Wilson, the player, I have mad love for that guy. I just think he's a phenomenal receiver. The way he uses his body, he has great hands. He runs great routes. There's nothing not to like about him. The one thing you don't like about him is he's been on the Jets and he's had terrible quarterbacks to work with. And is the guy going to get with somebody that actually turns him into the star that I think he deserves to be? And that's the thing. I hope that guy doesn't end up playing his time with the Jets and not getting that opportunity to play with somebody who is deserving of his talent. All right. Maybe Geno, because Geno does have a history, at least a fairly recent history. You have to go back 2 full years, but he does have a fairly recent history of being able to connect with his receivers, that maybe it can happen. But there's certainly no certainty. And I'm worried about Garrett Wilson and his future as a football player, particularly with the Jets, because he's just not getting the chance. And he'll have the choice, by the way, at some point at the end of this deal to decide whether it's worth it to stay or not. And the Jets have to give him a reason to stay. Part of that is that connection. Why is Jamar Chase never going to leave, Cincinnati? Because he's got Joe Burrow. Why do these guys stay where they stay? Because they have that natural connection. Even Justin Jefferson, we're hearing it these days, might want the heck out of there if this quarterback doesn't work out this year. That guy's a phenomenal receiver. You killing me? You kidding me? You cannot let that guy walk. The Jets could be in the same kind of peril if they don't get it together quarterback-wise for a guy like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, let me squeeze that in real quick on Garrett, because Badshaw, I know you and a lot of Jet fans are probably pretty oh my God, Garrett Wilson wasn't at practice today. And Aaron Glenn gave an update, thankfully, that he was just sick. He was throwing up. Now, he didn't say the reason he was throwing up, but it could have been because he was looking at the past quarterbacks that have thrown him a pass with the Jets, and it sort of brought him ill and barfing up. That could have possibly been the case. So we can only hope that Geno can ail what is wrong with Garrett Wilson. Yes.
Well, and kind of to piggyback off what MC was saying, I think another knock, obviously, that he plays for the Jets. We've had terrible quarterback play, but also I think something that people don't like about him is, and I don't understand it, but it's he's not really a receiver. If he catches the ball and somebody gets a hold of him, he's not going to truck 3 guys and take it to he's more elusive than he is.
Yes.
He's not a Megatron guy, but at the same time, I'm well, he's 6 foot. I don't even know if he's 200 pounds. I'm like, he's not going to be out there. I mean, he does what he can do. I mean, he catches and he may get some yak and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I think that's another reason people are like, well, he's just not this big physical presence. And I'm like, well, God bless. That'd be like me wanting you to be. I'm like, Paul, why can't you just be taller out there on
right? Yeah.
the football field?
I think he's physically gifted enough, Badshaw, and I just imagine, like, I use this as the example. Put that guy in the Rams right now. Put him on the Rams.
Make yourself get taller.
That's true. You cannot do that.
I mean, I guess
you can't. But I think he's fine physically. I think he has the physical gifts.
Oh yeah, what Jamie the FedEx guy is he a Bills fan or a Giants fan or what is his
Bears fan? He's a Bears fan.
Bears fan.
Chicago Bears fan.
Okay.
Living in Central
my dad's
New York,
a Bears
Chicago Bears fan.
Really? Wow.
Okay, I bet. Yeah, my dad's a Bears fan, but he's more of a college guy. He's more of a Razorback.
And fortunately, we're losing Badshaw, so I'm gonna take him out of the room only because
Badshaw.
We're losing his connection. We're getting every third word right now.
But thank you for the call.
Awesome, yeah. So good discussion there, and I think like I was gonna say to Badshaw, he just couldn't hear me, so I just decided to stop my comments there for a minute. But you put a guy like Garrett Wilson on the Rams, like I could see him going nuts on a team like that. The McVay offense, having a super competent quarterback like Stafford, the kinds of things they run, like. So the Jets got to get it together, man, because they have acquired some good players, and you got to keep those players. You don't want those players at the end of their contracts going, I'm the heck out of here, man. You don't want that. Like that, then you never get anywhere. You're just on a treadmill and you're running and you don't get anywhere. They have made some wise choices in recent drafts, and they have to make sure that this becomes the bedrock of their team. And if you don't get it together at the quarterback position, especially for offensive skill players, a lot of them just say, I want to go play with somebody who's going to make me better. And there's a lot more money to be had when you're making 100 catches a year and you're scoring 12 touchdowns and your team's winning. You just get a lot more pub.
You do. So it's on the Jets in a different way. When Andrew Luck was with the Colts, they didn't provide him an offensive line. By the time they got it together, he was gone. Like, okay, Garrett is telling you, hey, man, I'm really talented. Maximize me. It's up to the Jets it's easier said than done, of course, but it's up to them to find the quarterback to maximize Garrett and thus maximize the quarterback. One hand feeds the other. It's up to them to solve it, whether that's a Geno for the president and then this looming 2027 NFL draft with all these talented guys. Go get your guy for Garrett, and hopefully Garrett has a great back half. Not that it's over, but he's still in his mid-20s, but really sort of take off as he gets into his prime here.
Absolutely. So, look, it's just a concern. I really, there have been some teams in the NFL in recent years that have really struggled, and our two teams, the Jets and the Giants, have been two of them. And I'm really hoping that this is a watershed year for these two teams where they start, get in the playoffs, we'll see, all that kind of crazy stuff. But like, let's see real change happening here. Let's see genuine improvement. Like something to look forward to say that we're on a trajectory that's going for once this way, not this way, and not this way, certainly. We need to be on this trajectory. And the Jets and the Giants have a lot to prove this year, man. A lot to prove.
There's no question about it. So will they prove it? That's what the fun is for. That's why they play the football game, Susan. So let's see what happens.
Yes, they do. Right, Susan? That's why they play the football game, Susan. I never tried John Sterling.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. God rest his soul.
All right. Well, Boy Green, I think we're at the end of this rope here. How about some final thoughts on today's live show? Again, thanks to everybody in the comments. Let me see. I started a couple others. Let me just bounce through a couple that I starred. I know that were among some of the conversations we were having earlier on the Jackson Dart thing. Dart gets dumber after every one of these hits. Hot take. Jamal plays more than Dart. Jameis plays more than Dart this year. All right. I hope that's not a hot take that becomes true. Phil coming in with the only time that he had a concussion, they said he was okay to go back on the field. They misdiagnosed that he played a series, then they took him out. I do remember that.
So maybe it's overcorrection on the
overcorrection, undercorrection. Yeah, I don't know where this is going for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's true.
Manchild Dart almost lost his ribs and his soul, Mortal Kombat style. Ugh.
That's true. That
good.
was
Great
a
one there.
fatality. It did. It did look like his soul was separated from his body. Yeah, definitely.
So Yo Holmes in there this morning. He was asking me about my
Ooh.
handicap earlier. Dart got creamed. Yes, he did.
He
Yo
did.
Holmes. He got
Paved.
creamed, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate all of you who have commented, including those few that I highlighted there for being part of our live show. Again, don't forget, we're getting closing in on our raffle. I'll give one final plug for that today, B.
Sure, please, full screen.
Show the prizes, okay? Big prize pack for this month raffle. It's actually a dual raffle from last month and this month. 9 movies, all right? Oh, I got them upside down, all right? You can read them there. Fighting Forrester, Elf, all right? Hoosiers, Karate Kid, Gone in 60 Seconds, Blindside, Good Will Hunting. God, I don't know which way to turn them. Okay, sorry, I'm just backwards, forwards, and upside down. All right.
Yeah.
9 DVDs.
Yes.
James Bond is in there. Good Will Hunting. Dead Poets Society. All right.
Nice. A great movie.
3 fabulous Sports Illustrated covers. Michael Jordan finally getting his championship. All right. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's last stand in the NBA. Look at that goggle guy right there. All right. And Pete Rose saying,
yes.
"Then I didn't gamble on baseball." Absolutely not. You see it right there. Is there any doubt about your mind? Okay. Later, of course, he did admit that he gambled on baseball, and it has cost him the Baseball Hall of Fame. You're going to get your choice, one of these mugs, dual-sided, one Manchild show.
Two-tone.
Both Manchild, all right, two-tone. I'm going to let you pick the color. I'm going to special order this for you and have it sent directly from the manufacturer. So, and this is a nice big coffee mug, by the way. Does it not look big?
Seems sturdy, too. Vibrant colors as well. Vibrant colors.
And then last thing, the laser etched 12th MC glass. I'm trying to keep my dirty fingers off it. I still have the tissue paper here. All right. Beautiful. Both sides, dual-sided, laser etched. Pour your beer, your favorite beverage.
It makes you want a cold drink.
Dishwasher safe. Okay.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That's why I went for some of the laser etched, because some of the ones
they
that
last
come
forever.
Stickers, but the laser etched last forever. You put them in the dishwasher, no big deal. The others, you got to hand wash. If you put them in the dishwasher, the decal can start to peel, and then you kind of just becomes a blank glass, which you don't want.
Which I do have a few of those. They work just the same, but
they do. But who wants the blank glass when you can have something cool on the side of your glass while you drinking your summer beverage? So this, so all that stuff's going to one person. This month's raffle, you can see the tote board right there. Jamie leading the way, Austrian in second place right there. I see Max in the running. Zay Engineer is in there in the running. Badshaw, J-Cons, MFC, all still in it. You can get in it. We'll have live opportunity this Wednesday, and then Friday, our first opportunity with Joe Bartle, who's apparently laid up, but we'll be doing it from some kind of Barca lounger or something.
3:15 on Fridays, this Friday and every Friday moving forward. So,
so come Friday to that live show. Get in the comments, okay? And, what do you want to ask Joe Bartle? Want to ask him about, draft? Who should I draft if I'm picking number 7? And what should I do here? Or if you've already drafted your team, whatever your questions might be, Joe is fantastic. We're going to have him all season long. He'll do lineup stuff with us, trade stuff with us, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be every Friday at 3:15, and we're going to do that as a live show. And the reason we're doing that live is so that you guys can get in the comments and ask Joe questions while we're talking to him. So this should be a real, listen, we're giving you a free resource to a fantasy insider who does regular stuff on Sirius XM radio and is all over rotowire.com, all right, helping them put their rankings together. Joe's a great resource, and he'll answer your questions honestly. It's really, I always find it fascinating to talk to these fantasy guys and find out where they stand versus where sometimes we stand with things. But, it's advice. You take it, you don't take it. That's up to you. But we're going to do Joe every single Friday at 3:15. And, of course, we'll be back again this Wednesday live. Matt Lombardo, our NFL insider, will be joining us. We'll be talking any of the stories that are breaking in the NFL. Maybe we'll have more news on Breece. Maybe we'll have more news on whatever's going on with Tyrone Tracy. Hopefully nothing is going on with Tyrone Tracy other than he's out there today, hitting a blocking sled for 4 hours because of what he did in that game by letting his quarterback get hit. I don't know what he's up to today, but hopefully Tyrone Tracy is learning himself a lesson so that never happens again in pass protection for his quarterback. All right, for Boy Green, it's the Manchild. Thanks to all of you again. Signing off. We will see you again live on Wednesday. Plenty of other content coming your way the rest of the week. Take care, everybody. Peace out. We'll see you.